Hi, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to our second annual Christmas episode, I do believe.
Yep. Oops, I got an echo here. I'll take care of that real quick.
It's good to see everybody in the stream tonight. Alan, as always, it's great to see you. You're freezing down there in the south.
We are. We have a wind chill of 7 degrees outside right now, which is probably a good 40 degrees colder than it has been in a decade in this part of the world. So I know other folks have it much worse right now than we do, but yeah, by Southern standards, we're basically like in the ninth circle of hell, where it's just one big frozen lake.
Yeah, we've got about 2 feet of snow since last night around 7 o'clock, and it is not slowing down. It's just we're getting hammered. It's kind of cool because winters up here lately, the last few years have been super lame. So it's kind of nice to get a blizzard, and it's cool that the kids don't have to worry about going out and about. And it's nice. It's nice to look out the window. It looks like you're in a snow globe.
Yep. Hattori is definitely taking one for the team here tonight. Good to see you, Hattori.
Oh boy.
People always argue over whether that's a Christmas movie or not. It's a fun kind of back and forth I've seen folks have before.
There's also this groundswell of people starting to say that First Blood is also a Christmas movie, because when he's taken into the police shop, there is a Christmas tree on one of the desks. So they're calling that a Christmas movie now too.
No, I don't know about that. That seems like a bit of a stretch, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. Hey Tim, what's going on? Hello everybody. 7 degrees in Newaygo County, Michigan. Where is that at? Newaygo, middle of the state. Is it snowing there, Hattori? Because it's snowing like a son of a bitch in Traverse City. Crazy. But yeah, we're here. Christmas edition of the Heavy Metallurgy channel. Before we get going on this, couple things. You want to get in touch with us, you can send an email to heavymetallurgychannel@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, Heavy Metallurgy Channel. Yeah, and the typical, want to support the channel, there's super chats. What's that?
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where Laps is at. He's at like minus 45 with a wind chill. Is that like on the moon or something?
Right. Yep. Super chats are available if you want to support the channel, and just, what you've been doing. Subscribe, like, comment. I'm trying to keep up with comments. It's hard sometimes. You guys are a chatty bunch, which is very cool. I really appreciate it. But I think I covered all that stuff. Alan, what is the impetus for this show tonight?
It's Friday night and 9 o'clock. We always do a show at that time.
No, I'm the topic. I think one of your helper elves came up with the idea for this one.
Yes, actually, my wife came up with the idea for this show. So that means, by God, we're doing it, or I'm in the doghouse for the rest of the holiday season.
No.
But no, she just thought it'd be a cool thing to do. We are kind of, right here on the eve of Christmas Eve, and not sure how many folks are off work looking for something to do, how many people are without power, how many people have to get up and deal with family tomorrow. So yeah, I had mentioned to her that we wanted to do something kind of holiday-ish. And she thought, well, why don't you just talk about what things you guys would like for Christmas? You always talk about what you have. Why don't you talk about what you don't have? I was like, that's very clever. You're both smart and pretty. I'm glad I married you. So talked to Marty about it. And he said, yeah, that sounds kind of fun. And then we had to think, okay, who else would be fun to cover this kind of topic with? And we got ourselves an awfully good guest to bring on in just a moment, who will fit the bill quite fine. And Tom, thank you very much.
Tom, thanks, man.
Tom is in the holiday spirit of giving, and we appreciate it very much, Tom.
Thank you.
But yeah, so it's just going to be kind of a fun episode. But we're obviously not going to be showing a lot of items, because we're kind of focusing on items that we don't have. Maybe things that we want for this Christmas. Maybe things that got away from us, on that, magic Christmas long ago, where we didn't get the goddamn BB gun like the other kid did, or whatever other, magical grail item was we had our wee little hearts set upon. And, you wanted the remote control car, and you got a sweater instead. It happened to all of us. So we've all shared this trauma. And so we'll, probably share a few stories from Christmases past, and but also talk about, what we might hope to find under the tree here in just another 36 hours or so. And we want to hear from all of you in the chat too. What have you got your eye on? It's okay to be just a little greedy this time of year. Got to have something under the tree for everybody, and everyone's got something in mind. It's and none of that, peace and joy and goodwill to man, bullshit. We're talking a little avarice here, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Physical product, and not just cash or gift cards, because that's kind of an easy cop out. No, you got to actually, something you can put in a box and wrap up, and not just scan to get value the next time you're at Target or something like that. We're trying to do this the traditional gift giving way. You come up with something, you make somebody go out to a store and physically buy it, only to find out that it's the wrong color or the wrong size or not at all what you actually wanted.
Right.
So, but that's the general idea for this. Let's see.
We should probably state also that this is not an attempt at panhandling, folks.
Absolutely.
We have a very, very awesome community here, and there's something called VCLT. It happens. People send each other stuff all the time. We're talking about this stuff doesn't mean that you go out and put it into action. This is not that type of this is for funsies. This is
absolutely
just talking. Seriously, don't get the wrong idea with this show, please.
Yeah, that is an excellent point, Marty. And yeah, to be very clear, a lot of the things I will mention tonight that I'd like for this Christmas, I've already asked somebody for. Yeah, my wife or my friends are probably going to be giving them to me. This is not some kind of veiled attempt to be like, gee, I sure do wish somebody would drop this in the mail. No. This is just a fun topic, so that again, some of the stuff we'll mention will probably be silly, insane items that we will never get unless Santa does actually show up and bring it down the chimney. It's my only hope on a couple of these. I've got my fingers crossed. Come on, big guy, come through for me just one time. But yeah, it's just a fun holiday themed kind of topic. So,
yep.
And again, we want to hear the same kind of things from you. There's that one item out there you'd love to get, but it's probably not realistic. But hey, it's Christmas. It's okay to wish, even if your wishes will be, dashed apart into little tiny bits of ugly sweaters and holiday candy and shit you didn't really want.
Right.
Quite all right.
Okay.
But that is the general idea. And yeah, good to see you folks are chatty in the chat tonight. We'll get comments up here as fast as we can. Someone mentioned earlier, now Gremlins was a Christmas movie.
It was.
That the Christmas is strongly tied into that whole, movie, even the subplot with, the kid's dad dying, getting stuck in the chimney, which you think back on it now, that was just, really kind of fucked up.
Yeah, kind of.
But yes, Gremlins 1, absolutely a Christmas movie. Gremlins 2, that was a movie. The less said about it, the better. It did have Slayer in the soundtrack. I guess we can give it that.
It did?
It did, yes. Angel of Death plays when one of the gremlins is going through its crazy metamorphosis thing in the Empire State Building. Yeah, wow. You get that big bridge riff of Angel of Death in the background.
Wow.
Yeah. The more you know.
The more you know.
All right. I think it's high time we got a guest out.
Yeah, we left him on ice for far too long. He's had time to pee. He's sitting there. He's ready. He's poised. He's got the dead gaze of trauma from Christmases past. So let's bring him on here. Rick.
Hello.
Dreadful Claws. Rick from the Dreadful Minutes, everybody. Back again, as always. Always good to see you, brother. Thanks for joining us on this. Hey, Wade. Thanks a bunch, man.
I'm grateful for everybody and everybody who's showed up tonight. It could be anywhere else, but got quite a crowd and quite a following of people here to watch us. It's great.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Eggnog.
Right.
Anybody else got nog?
I've got Sam Adams. It's Holiday Winter Ale, citrusy and hazy. To be honest, it doesn't have much of a flavor, but I bought it, so I'm going to drink it.
Well, I was showing this beforehand yesterday. My buddy Jason, if you're watching, Jason, hey, 2K Farms Ice Honey Crisp. It's like a goofy little skinny, super skinny bottle. Thinking, okay, cool, a couple drinks. I poured the whole thing into one glass. The whole bottle fit in one glass. It was deceiving. I thought, wow, that's kind of genius. It makes you think you're buying a bottle. I'm getting a bottle of hooch for tonight. You get home, you get one glass. It's like, okay,
let me guess.
I guess I can drive.
Too, right?
Yeah. But it's really tasty. Good shit.
Tori's got a public service announcement about bad eggnog. I'm not an eggnog guy, but for those who are, Tori's trying to steer you clear of
It's
some
love it or
choppy
hate it
waters
thing.
there.
I got a little bit of tequila in this, so to kind of help things along.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, Rick, it's good to see you, friend. I know you've been super busy with things.
Yep.
What's been going on over at the Dreadful Minutes?
Well, first of all, I want to do a quick thank you. A friend of mine. So you mentioned Slayer with Gremlins. I forgot all about that. Actually, I got to rewatch that movie because there's a lot of stuff I forgot, and some of it may be enlightening, and some of it may be traumatizing. But I got this shirt right here.
Cool.
So my good friend Melissa sent me this shirt. So, and I told her it's a funny story because I actually ordered this shirt like a year ago, and it like never showed up. So I kind of, it's one of those like, I don't know, custom made things or whatever. So they canceled my order. There was some kind of PayPal dispute or whatever, verified address or some shit like that. So yeah, so I'm like whatever, fine. And then come now, and this thing shows up, and there's no like return address. It's like no, I guess it's the company, whatever. She must have had it. So she ordered this for me. I had no idea. She came over, we hung out. No mention of this shirt. Goes back home. I got a text. Oh, by the way, did you get that Slayer shirt? Like, what are you talking about? The shirt showed up, thinking the company finally decided to continue my transaction a year later. And so she ended up gifting this to me. The very shirt I ordered a year ago. So it was just meant to be.
Does it fit?
Is it the right color?
As a matter of fact, yes.
You've had a year to grow. I'm just, if it were me, it probably wouldn't have fit.
I grew. That's why I need to stop drinking stuff like this.
Yeah.
Not in the way I want to.
Hey, Alex, thank you so much for the super chat. You rule,
Yes.
my friend.
Appreciate that quite a bit.
And also, Wade, I think we already thanked you, but we're glad to be here on Fridays for all you folks. We have a great time as always, and we really appreciate all you guys hanging out. And ladies, there's a small percentage of ladies that hang out with us too. So cheers to all of you folks, and we appreciate you.
Yep, absolutely. Hope everyone is having a good holiday season despite the absolutely crazy frigid weather that a lot of us are dealing with.
Yep.
Let's see.
So, Alan, how are we bridging this? How are we breaching this topic? I'm going to let you be the Grandmaster Elf and getting us all.
I'm conducting the Polar Express tonight, am I?
You are making sure the streams don't cross.
All right. Everyone always did say I have an ass like Tom Hanks, so I can do this. Absolutely.
Is that good or bad?
Now that you mention it, I'm not really sure. Maybe they were actually fucking with me the whole time.
Oh.
Sons of bitches. I don't know. Anyway, we'll just have to do our best. Again, this is going to be pretty open-ended, as we mentioned earlier. We'll talk about some stuff we might like this year, some stuff that maybe some Christmas memories of cool things we got once upon a time, or some things that got away from us that we never did manage to land. We also have just a couple of kind of random categories that we've talked about during the week for fun. Christmas gifts sometimes fall into certain subgenres. We're heavy metal fans. We understand how subgenres work. Not all presents are created equal. So we'll throw out a few kind of fun topic ideas within the gift world as well. And let's start with one of those just to kind of get the ball rolling here. One category that we came up with was the lump of coal category. There's that one gift you tend to get every single year from someone that you don't want and you don't like, but you're just kind of stuck with it. It's like dad getting a necktie for his birthday every year, or little kids getting socks in their stocking. They don't want the socks. Don't give them the socks, but they know they're going to be in the stocking no matter how good they are. Good, naughty, nice has nothing to do with it. You're stuck with the socks. Everybody has something like that just haunts them year to year. And Rick, as our guest, as usual, let's start with the guest. What's that lump of coal gift that has just haunted your holiday seasons?
Well, it's not gonna call it quite a lump of coal regarding my family, but I would say it's the shit you get from your coworkers. It's kind of like yeah.
That's a good
So
point. I've been
there was
out of
a
the
couple,
workforce for so long. I've forgotten what that's like. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and pre-COVID, it was a lot more commonplace. Now they just kind of mail it to you. So you're gonna get like a little tiny, maybe $20 supermarket gift card in this inflated economy. Not gonna go very far. Might be able to get maybe 2 cartons of eggs if I'm lucky. Some candy canes, and a little card. And sometimes they forget to write your name in there, so not quite personal. So, yay.
Okay, that's a good one. Really good one.
That is, yes, the people who know you well enough to feel obligated to get you something, but don't know you well enough to get you anything good or personal or that you would actually enjoy.
I've only worked here 15 years, but never mind that.
Let's see. You talked about the Packers once when we had lunch 3 years ago. So here's a tie with Green Bay helmet symbols on it.
Right.
Yeah.
How about you, Alan?
For me, I thought about this one. It's a pretty easy one. It is holiday candy. Both my mom and my mother-in-law always feel compelled to get those like giant 20-pound bag of something chocolate that's colored green and red only for this 1 month window out of the entire year. And it's just like, guys, I'm, in my late 40s, I don't really need to sit here consuming sugar and chocolate by the pound. That's not going to work well on the system like it did, 30 years ago when I might have enjoyed this a bit. So every year it's kind of like, hey, we don't need all the snacks, don't need all the junk food, can't go through it, but it's going to be there. Christmas morning, there's going to be something big and lumpy in the stocking. And it's not because the dog took a crap there. It's going to be the 150 piece variety pack of Reese's peanut butter cups, or the jar of holiday M&Ms that's large enough to store a human spleen in, or something like that. I can't escape the holiday candy. I've said it nicely. I've said it not so nicely a couple of times. Don't get me this stinking candy anymore. But they're going to get me the candy. And I'll eat a little bit of it. I'll throw some of it away. I'll give some of it to neighborhood kids. I'll do things with it, but I don't want it. I just don't. But there's no escaping the candy for me.
Right.
Marty, what's your lump of coal?
Well, we haven't done proper Christmas for a while here, and when we were, my mom would still do stockings for us. It's grown, I was in my 40s the last time we did Christmas over there. My mom would always do our stocking, which is cute. It's cute. But in that, because, I do Binding recordings, I do some office stuff. Every year for many years, I would always get Post-it notes, which are, that's fine, and white out in my stockings. Everybody realizes that email took hold in the 90s. Email took hold, and we print out our envelopes and stuff with a printer and shit. I probably had 20 containers of whiteout around here at one point that I would check every once in a while, and they would just be gone because they're crusted. They just get old after a while.
Yep.
So yeah, the sentiment was awesome. She did so well with that stuff, but I always had to laugh at the whiteout. Although I would always get gummy worms in the stocking too, which I did. Unlike Alan, the fat kid likes the candy. So I would mow down on the gummy worms, and my dad would always get the box of turtles. The candy, they're shaped like a turtle. They're chocolate with caramel and nuts, and we sit there and fuck those up. But
I think they had a way of predicting the future because they probably knew you weren't going to be working at an office. With me, I just steal them. So I never had to worry about that. In your case, well, and you live in Michigan, you look out the window, whiteouts everywhere.
Yeah, it's happening today, big time.
Yep.
But yeah, whiteout.
That would definitely count. Yeah, the Metal Vault's making out pretty good here in the lead up to Christmas.
Ooh, nice. Very good. How about you,
All right.
Alan? What's next on our docket of
Another category we talked about, and this Rick's office present mention kind of ties into this one. The white elephant gift. You have those office parties or other social group parties where they do the white elephant thing, where everyone's supposed to get kind of a goofy present, and you get something at random, and sometimes you can trade around. What would we actually trade for in the white elephant gift giving melee? Something that's going to show up there most likely. And you figure, if I got to get stuck with one of these things, I'm at least going to try to angle and get that. And no, Slayer CDs do not show up in white elephant parties, so don't even try.
All right, Rick.
I actually brought a prop of such a thing over here. It's
right.
not mine, but I figured I'd show it. And anybody recall this?
Yep.
Oh yes.
But maybe something a little larger, a larger scale that I can put. This would be very amusing and to annoy people with.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Not bad.
And they made a sequel to this movie like just recently. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's where the kids all grown up.
Actually, this one that just came out is technically the third. There's an old Christmas Story Part 2 that has been around for years and just never got any attention. I know this because my kid found it at the used bookstore this month and wanted to see it, so we actually had to buy it. And it's actually not bad. It shows the kid when he's 15 years old, right on the verge of getting his driver's license. So it's all about cars and girls and stuff like that. But it's actually fairly funny, although it doesn't have the same cast. So the characters don't work quite as well as they did in the original. But yeah,
I had no idea.
I might have heard of it at once upon a time and had forgotten it. But yep, the kid saw he knows the first movie and liked it. So he's like, oh, they've got another one. Can we get it? I'm just like, I don't know how good that'll be, but sure. But I've now seen it with him about 8 times.
That's not the one in the common rotation on the cable channels, it's always that original one.
Yes, it is. And as we start drinking more heavily and, as we're haunted by the Christmas of old, that movie has haunted my family for years, decade timescales now, because it, of course, yes, it's on one of those TNT network stations. They started at 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve and run it for 24 hours straight. Out of those 24 hours, the TV in my parents' house will be stuck on that station for probably at least 18 of those hours, because my father will sit and watch that movie over and over and over and over and over and over. You get it in 12 times in a 24-hour period. I think they spaced it out over a 2-hour block with commercials. He'll make it through at least 6 of those rotations.
It's probably from an era he grew up in. I mean, that time zone, that time frame is probably very nostalgic for him a little bit.
I feel that way about Christmas Vacation. I can watch that over and over and over again. Maybe that's his Christmas Vacation.
It kind of is. Most people have one, but for him, every year, I mean, it's not just he has to see it once. He has to have it on all freaking day while it's going. And before I rant more, Jack, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you.
Glad you're hanging out with us tonight. But yeah, and it's kind of weird because it's not, you're right, Marty. Part of it is, he can kind of relate to some of the things in it, Red Rider and, all that. He knows a few of the actors. The guy that plays the dad, Gavin something, was in a bunch of movies when he was growing up. So he's like, oh, I know he was in all these cowboy movies I liked. I'm like, yay, okay, boomer. But it doesn't make much sense because it's not his kind of movie at all. He doesn't like these silly, schlocky comedies whatsoever. Die Hard, now that's the movie that should be his Christmas movie. That is perfectly up his alley. I'm sure he's seen it. I'm sure he liked it, but he will sit there and just giggle like a little kid every time Ralphie walks down the stairs in those pink bunny pajamas, and every time the old man goes down there screaming at the furnace and stuff. He breaks down laughing like he's never seen the movie before, and he's watched it at least 5 or 6 times every Christmas since the late 1990s. It's some things in this universe don't make much sense, and that is one. My dad's movie viewing habits are really weird.
You probably heard some noise just now, like running around upstairs. So we got a German Shepherd up there, and a very hungry one, and likes to be around the dinner table. And I'm a little nervous about this Christmas because if we have a big turkey out, we may end up eating Chinese food instead.
Duck. Cut the head off the duck.
Someone saying
Yep.
Jingle All the Way is their Christmas movie. For my sister and I, it was always Ernest Saves Christmas. Now that is high theater right there. That's all I want to say. If you haven't seen it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right on.
I've seen it once and I don't really remember it. But there are some movies I avoid. Hocus Pocus is one of them. It's on all the
I
time.
watch that every Halloween. I watch it. Now I have Hocus Pocus 2 to watch
There's just-
every Halloween.
Yes, you do.
And it's the exact same movie as Hocus Pocus 1. Same premise, same damn thing, but whatever.
And then you got The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is kind of cheating because it's the in between Halloween and Christmas. So you're kind of double dipping there. But
Hattori knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, my kid wants to tomorrow watch the Charlie Brown Christmas. And
That's a classic.
which it's a classic, and I remember from my youth, but I don't remember it being so damn Jesus-y, but it is. It's
kind of.
I mean, I watch it now and it turns my heathen guts. But whatever. It's all good. It's youth, What are you gonna do? How about you, Alan? White Buffalo or whatever, White Elephant Gift. White Buffalo. That's Ted Nugent. Sorry.
oh man.
Let's see. For me, the White Elephant Gift, I'll try to veer for. Yeah, again, I work in a science department. It tends to be a lot of books and a lot of rocks. I've got enough of both of those, but every now and then somebody, it's not uncommon to see someone introduce, one of those, kooky singing holiday animals where it's dressed up and battery powered and motion censored and does stuff. So if someone like this little guy shows up, he's coming home with daddy. Yes, it is. This one, I don't have batteries in it tonight. This little guy is about shaking his last maraca. He sings Mamacita Donde Está Santa Claus, and it's adorable. But yeah, he's kind of on his last maraca, so not going to fire him off here for everyone tonight. But if anything like this shows up, yes, the trading will go hardcore, whatever it takes. I will bring that home. We've got a table full of them that we set out each year. I've got my own flamingo with a Santa hat. I'm just waiting for it to go on sale after the holiday's over. Then, like a great big sexy condor, we're going to swoop right in and pick that guy up for about 75% off the day after.
Now that's not a Chihuahua, right? That's
This one is a Chihuahua.
Oh, okay. It's very on the nose. That's why I was asking.
I'm guessing it's a Chihuahua. I hope it is. Otherwise, it might be culturally inappropriate. I don't know, but it's cute. It shakes its maracas and it sings in this little high-pitched children's voice. So you can't go wrong. This was a Walgreens find on December 29th, so it was 80% off. It's a tension game because if you wait an extra day or two, the price keeps dropping. But there's only 2 of them left on the shelf, and someone else might beat you to the punch if they get there when they open up the next morning and you're a little late. So you got to time it just right to get it the price you want before they disappear.
So you're that guy. That's why I never see it on the shelf. The 26.
I am that guy. Just it's like, well, today it's 65% off. No, not yet. Just going to circle the parking lot slowly overnight, and then it's like jackals circling their prey. You move in for the kill as soon as if you get to 80% off, you buy. Absolutely.
Oh,
if it goes north of 75% off, you don't wait any longer. You pull that trigger, and you're glad you did.
Just so you know, everybody in the super chats are going to Alan's prop fund for the show. Just so you know, and apparently
they're going to want their money back now. It's like, I am not giving you money to buy a fucking flamingo with a Santa hat on.
Tom, what are you doing, man? Thank you.
Well, now Tom, I know his sense of humor at least a little bit, and he would donate money to buy a flamingo that sings with a Santa hat on. So
I also got a VCLT from Tom this week too, a Magnus LP, I think, or Magnus. I don't know. I have to listen to it. Tomorrow is the deal. I'm going to sit down and listen to a bunch of records tomorrow.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. I have not seen that in a long, long time.
Okay, White Elephant. The whole concept of this, I've heard of it before, but I've never been in a company that had, we had Christmas parties when I worked for the big company I worked for when I was a screen printer. Well, I still am a screen printer, but not for anybody but myself. And they would give out gift cards, which is fine. But the main part, I was a screen printer in the back bowels of hell. Whereas a bunch of other gristled old screen printers that drink and smoke and probably do too many drugs and got each other Christmas presents. It was usually beer. So, I mean, that was usually, pretty a safe assumption. Then we would sometimes drink it while we worked. It was perfect. It was, as long as no one wandered into the machines, we're fine. It's all good. So yeah, I've never really had the white elephant experience. So I couldn't contribute to this one.
Fair enough. You're spoiler alert, you're not missing a whole lot. It takes forever. Everyone opens things incredibly slowly, and everybody has to look at every gift, and it gets traded one, and you get like 2 trades, and then you have to. What? How many times has that book been traded? Did Tracy take that from Cheryl? Did Tom open that, or what? Was it Cindy? It's just like, dear God, people, none of us want to really get back to work, but I kind of do now.
I had a weird thing happen about that. One year, I got a copy of Inglourious Bastards, and nobody wanted to take it back. It was on Blu-ray, might I add. And I was very curious. So I went home with it, and that's how I ended up with that movie.
Kill some Nazis. Yep. Yep.
It's great.
Yeah. All right. What's next, Alan? What are we into next?
All right, we got one more sort of category for fun before we get a little more into the real stuff here. There's also, of course, the grandma present. You have to come up with something to ask grandma for Christmas. She wants to get you something. You can't exactly, now this is working under the assumption that you don't have a grandma who's going to be okay buying you the new Goat Whore CD. This is, kind of the traditional grandma.
My grandma bought me my first Kiss record. So my grandma was pretty fucking sweet.
And your grandma's awesome. Once upon a time, once and only once, my grandma bought me a Misfits album for Christmas. But there were extenuating circumstances that were kind of sad. So it was definitely an outlier. But, whether it's grandma or someone else, there's, that, relative who wants to get you something. They're going to. But you can't ask them for, action movies or video games or heavy metal albums. They're either just A, never going to get it for you. So there's no point in asking. Or B, if you do ask them, they're going to mess it up. You're going to ask for, Bolt Thrower, and they're going to get you Michael Bolton. So you've learned after a couple of missteps just to steer clear and come up with something that's a little more mundane, a little more mainstream, something that they're not going to be ashamed to go into a department store and purchase, or that they're not going to freak out that it's on their browser history that they looked this thing up on Amazon and ordered it, and now they get all these weird ads for Gwar albums that scar them for the rest of their life. Wow, that's kind of dark there.
That is dark. That's dark. Aaron took it to a dark place.
In a way, he's not as far off as he might think.
Oh.
But yeah, maybe if we get into the slightly drunken maudlin segment of Christmas stories later, we'll come back and circle back around to it. But for right now, we're still on the upswing now. So yeah, Rick, what's something that you would ask for from the nice relative who you got to come up with kind of the more casual gift idea for them?
Well, it's not too exciting, but I would say probably something. If I were to pick, let's say something like a record, something along the greatest hits line. That way, the guilt's not there because I didn't buy it. Grandma bought it. Yes. People will ask me about it. Be like, Grandma got me this, so I got the compilation or whatever. I still don't have a vinyl copy of "We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll." Funny enough, and I have these other Sabbath albums, but I don't have that one on vinyl. I would ask for that one. It's commonplace. You can find it anywhere. I just don't have it. It'd be nice. I just won't spend the money on it.
Yeah, fair enough. Black Sabbath might be mainstream acceptable enough now that you can get away with that with a good number of such folks. My grandmother would lock me in the basement and try to exorcise the demon if I asked for that.
Right.
And I think Target or Walmart just might have it too.
Probably. Yep.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
We're there now.
we are there. Yes.
All right, Alan, how about you?
Okay. Well, yeah, kind of the same idea as Rick, that you try to come up with, the greatest hits kind of collection or something by some band that you don't mind their hits, but you really don't want to own a bunch of individual albums by them. So kind of the same idea. For this particular Christmas, though, I've got one that has been reserved for that relative. It's a band called Compendium. It's spelled with a K instead of a C because that makes it look more cool, I guess. They did a one-off album, and it's kind of this weird all-star lineup of prog guys. It's got a couple of members from King Crimson in it. It's got and I want to blank on his name. The guitarist from Genesis does some work on the album. So it's a lot of these actually very, very big name guys who basically all agreed to be on this concept album written by, I think he was an Irish fellow, Ron Reed, something like that was his name. And he just came up with this big, huge, grand concept opus of a record, kind of, a prog rock record, but also like a lot of, folk and, sort of, Irish music worked into it. And somehow he just got, all of these huge name guys to sign on and contribute parts to it. So it's almost like an Avantasia concept, but for, prog rock superstars. They made an album in 2012 called Beneath the Waves, and it's actually really pretty. It's nice. It's not really that proggy in a way. It really does focus more on kind of the traditional folk elements of the music. My wife saw it posted by the fellow who runs Prog Power. He has a big social media footprint, and he'll just throw out all kinds of, cool different albums for people to check out. This was something he mentioned earlier in the month that folks might enjoy listening to during the holiday season. So we dialed it up out of curiosity one night, and it's actually pretty cool. Not a metal thing at all whatsoever. So yes, it passes, the grandma test just fine. It's an album that we wouldn't mind listening to. We wouldn't play it very often, but she could feel good about getting us some nice music. Oh, that's such a nice album. It sounds so pretty. And we would still enjoy listening to it and wouldn't have to track it down ourselves. So Compendiums, Beneath the Waves, that's the grandma present for this year. All right, Marty, what you got in mind for your grandma present?
Well, my grandma's been gone quite a while. And she passed at 93. And she always, she was a beer drinker and a hellraiser. She was a lot of fun, awesome woman. She always, I'm an only child. So I grew up in an only child, a small family. I always did pretty good for Christmas. I don't want to lie. My folks didn't have tons of money, but they would try to make sure their kid got a good Christmas and spoiled the shit out of me. But grandma was good for socks. She was good for underwear. But she would always, do pretty well with my Christmas list, too. There'd always be something that I asked for in there. Back in the day, it was Star Wars toys. Big time. I was a big time Star Wars nerd. And then G.I. Joe toys I was into for quite a while. And but there was the one thing she would always try to work into my wardrobe that never really sat well with me, was kind of like the Western cut button up kind of dressy shirts.
Oh, yep.
They're the thin ones. They were like checkered or something. She's like, "Oh, you just look here, try it on." And I would always have to try it on. I'd have to try it on, and oh, it fits. You look so nice in these. Why don't you just wear these more often instead of, my typical? I basically dress the same now that I dressed my entire since junior high at least. But yeah, she always tried, and then weeks later, "Oh, you've been wearing your shirt? Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, wearing it. Looks good, looking good." Never did. But yep, she was awesome and always did well. She always did a great job. Even when she wasn't feeling good, she would get out and try, do a good job. But yeah, it's
I know
heavenly
when I was
images.
In school, like when kids came in dressed like that, we usually called them punching bags.
I was always a little too big to be a punching bag, so you'd have to pack a lunch, Rick. Pack a lunch and have a buddy
that
lift.
One kid, came in and
Yeah. It was always important for me to make sure I did have a good grandma present, because if I didn't, she would steer into the clothing aisle, and yeah, that shit got real fast. I know one year she got me a sweater, And it wasn't like, the fun, haha, ugly sweater. It was just an ugly sweater. It was the exact color scheme of the early Wolverine costume, the kind of pale yellow and bright blue with a little black mixed into it.
Oh,
but
man.
it was meant to be kind of like a normal sweater. So it's like, this is what Logan would have worn if he went to Harvard instead of Xavier's school for, gifted youngsters or something. It was just atrocious. I very discreetly made sure Mom, could secure the gift receipt, and just like, this shit's got to go back tomorrow, Mom. This ain't happening. She's like, yeah, we'll find something else. There's another item in that store that's less hideous than that. So yeah, that one got returned real quick.
This whole thing is maybe
I made sure there was never an opportunity for her to stray into the clothing aisle.
When you have somebody a generation or two removed from you and having to pick your, decide your fashion choices, it's just, I don't know, it just never ends well.
Hey, Logan, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so
Logan.
much.
Appreciate it.
This whole talking about clothing thing, I remember, especially around Christmas, going with my mom and my grandma Christmas shopping, and even as a little kid, they'd steer into their clothing aisle and, here, hold my purse, son. So I'm standing there holding their purse, and while they're looking at bras, I'm just like, oh God. And then, they wouldn't have a cart, so they're handing me the bras to hang on to and I'm standing there holding bras and purses. That just brought back, and here, let me have a drink. Sorry.
you think it ends, and then you leave the house, and then you get a girlfriend, and they ask you to pick up, stop at the Walmart or Walgreens to pick up some tampons,
which I'm fine with that. But we'd go downtown. My wife bought this pink purse, and we'd go somewhere, she had me hold it every time. I'm like, why am I holding this purse that looks like a freaking vagina?
They're oblivious to that. She thought
it was funny. She's like, here, hold my vagina, type of thing. It'd be hilarious. Like, this fucking purse. I hate this fucking purse. Pick something more manly next time.
9 times out of 10, that's a phrase you don't mind hearing, but yeah, this would be the exception to that rule.
It would be the exception. Yeah. All right.
So I think we've gotten through kind of, the more fun categories. So after this, we're gonna continue to kind of ramp up. We'll start with maybe some like the small stocking stuffer ideas. Work up to some bigger gifts, and eventually, when the time is right, we'll talk about what the grail items, the thing that you put on. Mom and Dad, it's out of their league. You can't trust them with this one. There's only one source to go to for those elite, once in a lifetime, epic kind of gifts, and that's the one big red one. That guy over there, who kind of looks like a young Santa Claus. How we doing?
I'm the Santa Claus in training here.
How we doing?
We're doing good. How you doing, man?
Merry Christmas, Ben.
Thanks for letting me hijack.
Yeah, how you doing?
Glad you could hop on the sleigh at the last minute here.
Been waiting all day.
Yeah. Well, do we want to recap with Ben on any of these topics before we jump in?
I'd like to know it's picks. That'd be
it'd be interesting.
We had to suffer through it. He should too.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What was the first one?
All right, so Ben, we've started working through some of the goofier gift categories. The first one was the lump of coal gift, something that you will be stuck getting, whether you want it or not. They get it for you almost every year, and you don't want it, but it's going to happen.
Nobody ever gets me anything for Christmas.
Well, what are you doing? This is going to be a very awkward stream for you then.
So Christmas is a giant lump of coal for Ben. That's how that works.
Yeah, I pretty much only get stuff for the kids and the family, and like take people out to eat or something.
What about when you were a kid? When you were a kid, let's go back. What was a lump of coal when you were a kid?
You
knew you were going to get it every year, and you didn't fucking want it.
I don't feel like I got the same thing every year, but one year I remember my aunt gave me an erector set, and I wanted Legos, and she said to me, "Well, Ben, what do you want to do with this erector set?" And I was like, "I want to blow up the world." I was probably like 6. And I always remember that because I guarantee you she was like, "This kid needs help."
I've gotten that one before. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. When you said that one thing, and you just knew. You're like, Oh, I messed up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott Tannick's Metal Dungeon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Very cool.
Okay, lump of coal. Next one was
Next one was the white elephant thing. You know, there's at the white elephant parties, all kinds of goofy presents get passed around. What's the kind of present you wouldn't mind getting stuck with when the white elephant party has done its thing and run its course?
Kitchen gadgets.
Okay, that's a yep. There's always one of those floating around, some kind of goofy oven mitts or apron or weird thing.
that
Coffee
turkey
mugs.
baster's got many different uses.
This
I
is
had
a
a coffee
family-friendly
mug.
holiday stream, sir. We're trying to keep this holiday classic PG-13
You're
rated.
gonna bring in the box. I'm just saying.
Oh, a turkey baster. Anyway, go ahead.
Coffee mug or something. It's something like I like fucking around in the kitchen, but I don't like spending money on utensils that might be worthless. So it's a good thing to get, but not have to pay for.
Yeah.
I gave a slap chop one year, and I was kind of like, I would like to get a slap chop as well.
That works. That works.
Not for that garlic.
All right, we had one last gift category we just wrapped up, and then we'll have you up to speed. The last
Okay,
one
cool.
was the grandma gift, something where you have everyone has that one relative where you've got to ask them for something kind of mundane. They're not going to get you anything particularly cool or underground or anything. So, what do you ask that person for to make sure that you have something that they can reasonably go out and get you?
Socks.
Socks?
Grandma gives me socks.
Yep.
I burn holes in all my socks. To this day, I still do, and I burn through socks like a fucking animal. So yeah, socks and underwear.
And
That'll
you lose the
work.
one sock, right? There's like a black hole somewhere. There's some kind of quantum, wormhole where they go, and you just end up with the one.
It's like the hole. Like I'll throw a sock away when the hole is bigger than this. Like
Yeah.
2 toes can stick out of it. I'll still get some life out of it.
Thanks, Robert. Y'all are too kind today. Thank you. The giving season is out there. People want to see more Alan props.
Hey, these Santa hats don't come cheap.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, with me, the as soon as a toe is going through the hole, it's got to go because that drives me insane. All right, so yes, that got Ben is all caught up now. So yeah, we're ready to start, working our way up from stocking stuffers, towards those big epic, what would we absolutely love for Santa to bring us? What is our version of the Red Ryder BB gun? So Rick, start us off at the on the lower step, and we'll work our way up to the platform where Santa is sitting.
So something kind of triggered me, just because something I remember from my childhood. Ben brought up the erector set and the Lego sort of paradigm, right?
Mhm.
So growing up, I never got an actual transformer. Like,
Really?
Dude, I'm going to stop you right there. My kid had a hot minute with Transformers. There were a couple of those we bought, even with instructions. I could not fucking figure out how to transform those fucking. You needed a fucking aerospace engineering degree to figure out how to fucking transform Optimus Prime. Fuck Transformers. Anyway, continue.
Well, yeah, Marty,
Well-
they are more than meets the eye.
No, they were like, I was just like, at one point mashing it like this, go together. I just couldn't get the fucking, just couldn't. The
No.
instructions made no sense. I'm like, this is bullshit.
It's even harder with
Marty's
the
a
plastic ones,
GoBots
right?
man. God damn it.
Uh,
GoBots, 3 pieces to move. You're
Duplo
done.
Transformers.
Man, I will go to school and these kids will all have like this, like an amazing transformer things. They're like the good ones, like the ones made of metal. It's like you could literally take an eye out with those things. So one year I got this, and that's a GoBot. And I did not go to school with this, and I remember a time when you were kind of expected after Christmas to show your new wares.
Is that the motorcycle one or
It's
no?
I think he's called Future Guy or something like that. And it's so
Future
lazy.
Guy?
Like the head is just a block of that you can tell of the middle there. And Marty, your kid will have no problem transforming this.
Huh. I would I'd finally transform and give him to Parker. I'm like, do not take it apart. If you do, it's all you, bro. Anyway, go ahead.
And this is the bolt thrower Michael Bolton thing. Like this is the mix up, and I ended up with this. And they're like, "What? It's a robot. It transforms. What's the big deal?" I'm like, "Mom, you don't get it." It's like I'm gonna get picked on, probably get beat up.
Future guy.
So I play with it. It's okay. So
Future guy.
it's a future machine in the middle there. Oh yeah, so there's the box. Like they came with it. It looks exciting on the cover there, but it was kind of a dud when you actually got it. But it actually came with instructions though.
Well,
So
well, I mean, I had instructions with Transformers, but I couldn't understand them. I did not have the reading comprehension to understand a fucking Hasbro toy. Apparently, it was terrible.
You know what the tragedy is? I think these actually came out before the Transformers toys, so everybody thinks these are the knockoffs. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so that was the kind of a, but the way they were designed did not help them very much because they did indeed they look like knockoffs.
Yeah. Up next, Tomorrow Bro. Oh wait, oh there it is.
Guy.
Wait, Tomorrow Bro. I want Tomorrow Bro in my stocking.
Yeah, so you know, I feel kind of stupid to go out and buy the Transformer. If I'm gonna buy a Transformer for myself, it's not gonna be the little $14.99 whatever. You know, it's got to be like the mega thing. So I actually saw they released a Optimus Prime that self transforms. So right away, you don't even have to do the work.
That'd be fucking sweet.
This thing is like $700 though.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
he wasn't getting that.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna splurge and you know again pie in the sky, that's the one I will go for.
Tomorrow Bro. It's fucking funny. I'm still laughing about that comment last week, Heckoween. Instead of Halloween, Heckoween. Oh Jesus, that was so fucking funny. It was one of the best comments we've ever had. All right, Alan, you're up. Stockings. I did not prepare for this one, so I'm gonna have to think.
That's okay. That's all right. I got this. Kevin made a comment on bolt thrower for Christmas, and that triggered a memory for me. That's appropriate for the stocking thing here. There was a good family friend who always got, my sister and I, nice stuff for Christmas, and, got into the teenage years, so, this was someone you could send into the record store. She was not afraid, to go in there and look for, some, better records, not just, the Journey's greatest hits at Walmart or something. And, so one year on the list, I put Bolt Thrower's Realms of Chaos. I didn't have that particular one and just never picked it up. I was like, okay, that's probably not that hard a one to find if she goes to like a Camelot or something like that, which, she would hit the big shopping malls, and do Christmas shopping. So like, this seems reasonable. She'll look at it a little bit funny but she's cool with getting that kind of thing. So I put Bolt Thrower Realms of Chaos on the Christmas list. Christmas morning comes, open stuff, there was no Bolt Thrower CD, which is fine. Again, not, a thing at all. But, she mentioned, she's like, I've got a bone to pick with you, Alan. I'm just like, what do you mean? She says, like, you had this weird CD on your list and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I went to like 5 different stores. It drove me crazy. I'm just like, which one was it? She's like, I don't know. It had a weird name. And I didn't remember what I'd put on the list, really. So it took us a little while, but we eventually figured out it was the Bolt Thrower album. She's like, yeah, what the hell is a Bolt Thrower? What? I keep asking people in the stores this name and they look at me like I'm some kind of Nazi or something. I'm just like, it's just a random death metal thing. It's not like sketchy or anything. But so she couldn't get it. And it just so happened that by the next Christmas, I still hadn't gotten it. So I put it back on the Christmas list again. And she took like one look at this. She's like, isn't that the same fucking CD you asked me for last year? I'm just like, yes. She's like, God damn it. And she's like, it's really not supposedly that hard a thing to find. I see it in the record stores from time to time. She's like, fine. Couldn't find it again this year. So once again, on Christmas morning, I'm getting kind of blessed out about her inability to find Bolt Thrower. So it rolls over for a third year.
It sounds like something you get at Home Depot.
And the funny thing, the thing that made it kind of a fun running joke between us was that I knew, I had no doubt, she honestly was putting in a ridiculous ton of effort trying to find this stupid Bolt Thrower album for me. It's not like she's just like, oh, screw it, I'm not looking for it anymore. I will guarantee you every single year it was on the list. She went to every shopping mall in the 2 big cities within driving distance of where we all lived and went through every record store, probably more than once during the season, asking the clerks for Bolt Thrower. They probably knew her after a couple of years as this crazy Oriental lady who would show up in December demanding a Bolt Thrower album that they never had in stock. So, yeah, that was a long-running item on the Christmas list. I eventually did get it and showed it to her just to prove that it existed. And she's like, okay, so you don't have to ask me for it again. I'm just like, I don't. She's like, thank God.
But could you get a copy of Mercenary for me?
Yep.
Yeah. This year we need a Honor, Valor, Pride.
Yeah.
I knew how much to push my luck with Jane, and I had pushed it enough. So yes, that was one of those minor Christmas gifts that inadvertently kind of became one of these Grail chases that it really shouldn't have been. It wasn't out of print at the time or anything. They just never had it. So that is my pick for this. Ben, do you have one here?
And it's just something that you want to get your stocking stuffer?
Yeah, that's something you would like this year or something that you wanted in past years. You can reminisce on things from past years too. It's all good.
So I'm going through my Discogs wish list over here. Like, well,
that works. I did that today.
I didn't know if this is going to be more like record oriented or just like Christmas presents all over the place.
I took it as metal oriented, but I could have been wrong here.
Aaron, that is not cool, bro. That is not cool.
Dizzy, thank you so much.
Oh, Dizzy, you rule. That's so nice, man. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And you're welcome. We've had a great time this year. Great time. More to come.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll tell you what I would love to have in my stocking, but it would have to be a pretty big stocking. Morbid Angel's Covenant on LP. It's pretty hard to come by.
That's
Really?
cool.
Sucks, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Has it not been reissued?
So it was reissued in 2017 most recently, and those pressings have all dried up, and you got to pay about $200 for it.
Holy crap.
And
Holy crap.
yeah. And like, I'm sure it was like one of the biggest selling death metal albums of all time, right?
Yeah.
But OG copies of it, hell no.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask, I'm assuming there was an OG pressing, but it was probably pretty limited at the time because vinyl was not a thing by then.
Yeah. And I've got Domination on LP, the green one, and I've got an OG press of Altars of Madness. So, like,
nice.
you kind of need to get that one. And that's like one of my favorite death metal albums of all time.
Okay. That's a pretty cool one. Yeah.
Stocking, or just under the tree.
That might have to go under the tree, but that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, even the reissue is $200. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, I would think at some point they will reissue it here soon.
Yeah. Although the way Earache has handled represses in recent years, God knows what it's going to look like.
Right. Yeah. Not looking forward to that.
We'll put in like one of those super flimsy European 12-inch sleeves where it's like instead of cardboard, it's like printer paper or something.
Yeah. What the fuck happened to Earache?
Cheap.
There'll be no insert. Everything's just going to be this like QR code for everything. It's like you want the lyrics. Just put your phone up. That's the way everything's going to go.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you're bumming me out, dude.
Go to some restaurants now or some cafes. That's what they do. They don't even give you a menu. So
yeah,
that's the world. That's how it is.
All right.
I went
For
to a
me,
restaurant the other day, and a robot delivers the food.
where?
This place called California Pho nearby here.
A robot delivers the food?
Yeah, you talk to an actual waiter, but then they put your trays on a little robot, and it sings this little song and has a smiley robot face on it, and it's like,
oh man,
your egg rolls.
Wow.
We're there. I was already getting worried the Roombas becoming self-aware. Now we got this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I wonder what would happen if I grabbed someone else's food off of it. That's what I was tempted to do.
Mine, dumb robot, mine.
Yeah.
The real problem with this. The real problem with this concept is too that in this day and age, the people doing this are not even smart enough to go back to Isaac Asimov and make sure they've programmed the 3 basic laws into these robots to make sure they don't just run amok within the first 12 months. It's like we have the blueprint, we know what to do. No one's going to do it. It's going to be yeah. Oh well. All right, Marty. I think we've bought you as much time as we can. So stock.
Damn it, Tom. Mortal
thank
Covenant
you,
is the best-selling death metal album in the U.S. according to the Sound Scan.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Yep. Mhm.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much. For me, good stocking gifts for me. Deva guitar picks. Guitar chords, guitar oriented stuff, fast fret, guitar fretboard conditioning junk, stuff like that. That'd be awesome. Stocking stuff or ideas for.
You get a lot of boogers on your fretboard.
No, you like to keep it conditioned every time I change strings, just so the fretboards don't dry out and get shitty and gummed up with my big dick skitter sweaty hands. But yeah. All right. Yeah. What's next, Alan?
Seems good. I will just kind of keep, we'll slowly kind of ratchet it up here with, a gift idea. So folks can do more stocking stuffers or start to work their way under the tree, whatever they feel like. We'll leave it open. And again, we can also open this up to, Christmases of years long past, if there are certain ones we want to shout out some fun memories. But yep. So Rick, we're back at the top of the batting order with you, sir.
Well, one thing I noticed, like if you go to some of these, you go to Target or Walmart and these places, and those little arcades are like the thing now. Everybody is like, you get the Pac-Man and all this stuff. And not a toy or game, I would say. I never actually had my own copy. I would have to go to like Joel's house or whoever to play Mortal Kombat, and still do not have that. But I've been a mega fan, like most of us probably were at the time. And I don't know, like I feel like a bit of a mega poser because like I got like the soundtrack, but I don't actually own the game. So I'm like, that's like having the band shirt but not owning any of their albums. So I kind of feel like a little bit like that. And this is not even like the first one. This is the More Combat. This is like the sequel to the one from the original.
Does that have Fear Factory on it?
What'd you say, Ben?
Is that the one that has Fear Factory on it, or like Burton Bell doing something?
I think that was the first one, the original.
He's not even cool enough to have that one, so whatever. Fucking poser. Whatever tomorrow, bro.
But I did see the little mini Mortal Kombat arcade thing, and I'm wondering if that's good enough. I think the Target had it, so drop about $20-$30 for that thing, and it's like the computer powered. We're able to have that now on a miniature scale. The controls probably suck as all hell, but I can say I own it, and I don't feel like a poser anymore having this, but not the game. So that'd be a little bit of my stocking stuffer. I don't know.
Now, see, Rick, the really cool kids, they didn't just buy the shirts from the bands that didn't own any albums by. They made their own shirts with puffy paint. That's how you get in. That's how you get in with the preppy kids.
Man, I wish there was a
right there.
fucking picture of you wearing the puffy paint Metallica shirt. I wish that was a thing.
I didn't know any better. I used actual spray paint. I would make these stencils, and in the 90s, everybody wanted their like Nine Inch Nails and Tool, because I was the art kid, and I would cut out these stencils, and all that aerosol I was inhaling probably was not good for me. Let's just say, I wish I knew about some alternatives.
That's a cool find on the Pandemonium CDs. And
that's a lot of cool shit for $20 for
Merry
sure.
Christmas to you.
Yeah, cheers.
Wow, that's the Swano stuff. Cool.
All right, Alan.
All right, I'm gonna make this one very easy and straightforward. I this year never did come across a copy of the new Hypocrisy album, Worship, which is really strange that, several good record stores around here that do a pretty decent job on stocking new releases from, bands of that caliber.
Alan, guess what?
Nobody had it.
There's a thing called the internet. It's fucking awesome.
There is, of course. That's the easy way, though. Anybody
the way
can
I
get
got
on
it.
Amazon.
I don't have a bunch of cool stores around my place, so I gotta fucking go on the internet and buy my
same
shit.
here.
And it's you'll probably do that. I do on those kind of things. I typically will try to wait and get it at a local store if I can, and then if they just don't pick it up yet, then when I've got enough Amazon points saved up for like a free CD, then I'd cash it in. But other things would get in line in front of the Hypocrisy album whenever I was using Amazon points and cashing them out. And I still just always felt like they got to get it in with the next shipment of stuff. I'll check back in a week or two, and they just never did, which I'm not sure why. It would have fit in with all the other stuff they were getting. So yeah, Hypocrisy is worship. That's again, that's an easy one that's on in the ask list for somebody. So odds are it will be showing up under the tree here in a day or two. But just didn't get around to it. It was a very good album. I was very impressed with it. I hadn't really revisited Hypocrisy for a while, and I thought it was a slammer of an album. So that's my pick for this one.
All right,
Ben, another pick from you, please, sir.
I was just checking. They're still on Nuclear Blast. I wondered if maybe they hopped onto another label or something that had different kind of distribution, but doesn't seem like it.
No, it's still big label, and the stores around here have gotten other new releases from Nuclear Blast. They're getting stuff from the label or from a distro that handles that label. They just never had Hypocrisy.
Yeah, weird. Looking through my Bandcamp, so I've got 532 albums on my Bandcamp wish list. I'd love to have any one of those. It's
maybe we just get you a Bandcamp gift card.
It's actually kind of like my listening queue. Like I that's how I keep track of stuff that I want to check out. But if something isn't on there, then odds are I might not actually wind up getting around to it. So everybody's like year-end lists going around. I've been just kind of like keeping track of putting notable things on there. So I was hoping this weekend I can get around to listening to maybe like 25 or 30 or something of them. But I keep just discovering new shit over and over and over again. But the one thing I've been listening to a lot this year is actually not a new release. There's this band called Diabolism. I believe they were from Russia. And they just had a cassette release called Endless Darkened Saga back in 1997. I'm all about the 97. And that was it. I can't find copies for sale anywhere. Of course, it's on Bandcamp digitally, but I want to have the cassette, or I would love to have it pressed onto CD, reissued on CD, so that everybody can have it and enjoy it, because it's a brilliant fucking album. It's like mystical, pagan black metal with lots of keys and stuff, but not cheeky or crappy at all. It's just great songwriting. Check out. I'll put it in the chat. Diabolism. And if you got a copy, I know a guy. I'll give you $20.
Yeah, all right. The name rings a bell, but I don't think I've ever heard of them. I'm looking at them on Metal Archives now. Bulgarian band that did a demo, an EP, and that full length. Okay.
Endless Darkened Saga.
All right. Well, for me, my collecting is strange. I'm really happy with my vinyl collection. I don't have a huge list. I had to actually sit and think about this a little bit. I only have a handful of things in my Discogs want list. But when it comes down to like my Red Ryder BB gun want, as far as it comes to vinyl, it's this one, an OG press of Scanner's Hypertrace. That's probably the only one really at the top of my list I'm looking for. I've had this in my hands once when we were recording the second Charnel Valley album. I played Scanner for Zoller on our trip to Moomer's ice cream shop. He was blown away by it. He's like, hey, on eBay or something, when you're on there, pick me up a copy of this. So I got him a copy of this on vinyl for $20, maybe a little less than that. Sent it to him. Since then, the price has skyrocketed, and I'm a little too frugal when it comes to pulling the trigger on super expensive albums. Although, lately I might be changing my scope on that a little bit. But other than that, I'm a lot of these things are things that I've got a few things from my Discogs list on my list tonight. But
sure,
I go through these moods. Like right now, like last night, I started checking out this band Vampiric Blood, and it's like super cult, nasty black metal, and I'm just like, huh, this sounds pretty good. So I go down the rabbit hole now. I'm listening to this raw black metal shit now. So my mood is like this all the time, and it keeps me interested in the hunt. And I don't have a list I go back to often, but it's fun when the spirit moves you. I'll like for like 2 weeks, I'll buy a bunch of raw black metal, and then I'll go back to this and I'll go back to that. I jump around all the time. So that I like to keep my head on a swivel when it comes to that stuff, as opposed to these list makers and stuff like Ben and Alan has a notebook. He has notebooks full of shit that he's looking for. But yeah. So yeah, keep it loose and lethal. How about you, Rick? We're swinging back around.
I do have something on my Discogs wish list, and so Pentagram released a First Days Here vintage collection. There's a version of that came with a 7-inch, and right, it's the one when they were macabre, or macabre, or however you want to say it, and
Macabre when it was misspelled on the first pressing.
Oh yeah. So I have the edition that didn't come with the 7-inch. For some reason, there was a limited run, and that came with the 7-inch. Yeah,
so you need the 7. You don't need the whole thing. You need
the
just
7-inch.
7-inch.
Throw that in there, and yeah, it's hard to find that as for a reasonable price. But I would love to find a copy of that. I'm just hoping I'll run into a shop or somewhere where that thing's just kind of slipped in there, and none the wiser, and I'm not paying $100, and that would be awesome.
Is that what it sells for now?
It's up there. Yeah.
Yikes.
I think last I checked.
Yeah. I know the full, the 2 LP with the 7-inch is pretty pricey. I didn't know just the 7-inch itself was selling for that much.
Yeah. It's the 12-inch with the 7-inch. Is up for the package.
Yeah, it's hard to find that for under $100. I don't know if you could anymore.
Damn it.
Records are expensive.
I was reading the chat. What is it you're looking for? I'm sorry. What 7-inch you looking for?
It's the Pentagram. It is the First Days Here vintage collection. It comes with the old 7-inch they put out. It's basically a repress of the one that came out. I don't know what year did that come out. It's 1970 whatever. Early 70s.
72 for the first single.
72.
Okay. Sorry. I was listening, but I wasn't listening. I didn't catch all. I didn't focus in on all the details.
It's okay. The chat can keep us busy and a little distracted sometimes, folks.
And I will say too, we're talking about vinyl prices in the chat and stuff. Has anybody else gotten to the point where they're looking at like Discogs or eBay, and you see a record that you could maybe possibly buy, and be excited, like, oh, it's only $25. I mean, now like all new releases now are in the $35 to $40 range. I'm like, what the
that messes with your head
is happening? What the fuck is happening? They're gonna kill they're killing the vinyl boom. They're gonna kill it.
Single LP. I've seen single LPs are going for almost 40 now.
That's 40. Exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it. I just, and I know, hey, I'm old and I'm cheap, and I'll admit it, but these $30, $35, $36 price tags for a brand new release on vinyl, it's just like, I'm quite happy with the $14.99 CD version, please. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially for nerds like us who could just only listen to old music for the rest of our lives.
That's a good point, man. It's not like I need to buy more music.
Yeah. Like, I got other shit to do, man.
Yeah.
I can quit buying anytime I want to.
Yeah. I just got 4 records in the mail today. New Druk, Cerebral Rot's first one, the new Mortuous, and Midnight Sorcery LP.
Oh, I've heard that's really good.
I listened to the whole thing on 33. I'm thinking, this doesn't quite sound like I remember it. It sounds okay. And I listened to the whole thing, and then I got to thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, that sounded a little weird. It was like just like on the last song on the second side. I'm like, motherfucker. So I flipped it over and put it on 40. They didn't put it anywhere on the LP if it was 33 or 45. And of course, 45 sounded great. I'm like, okay, this is how I remember it on Bandcamp.
Yeah,
Gotta
which
get
way
them
was it
reindeer
better?
running a little faster, Marty.
Yeah, shit.
Gotta get that
dumb.
Was
sleigh
it
off the
better
ground.
at 33?
It was better at 45. At 33, I'm
Okay.
like, God, sounds a lot shittier than I remember it on Bandcamp. I liked it a lot more, and yeah.
Yeah, gas is yep, sign of the times for sure. Gas, vinyl, orange juice. It's all expensive.
Yep. All right, Alan.
Okay, so yeah, here's something. This is something that I didn't get when it first came out, and it sold out very quickly. It's like, well, bummer. I'm not paying the crazy, markup prices for people flipping it though. But it's just gotten a reissue, or I guess I should say a reprinting because it's a book, not an album. The Souls on Fire, the Peter Steele biography by Jeff Wagner. Jeff has just done another pressing of this. It's available over on the Radical Research.
It's a great book.
Website.
It got me into typo.
So
it made me like that band. Yeah.
Yeah, I am not a huge typo fan. I don't mind some of their stuff here and there, but I am rarely in the mood to sit and listen to it. But I enjoy Jeff's writing a lot, and it's not a band I know a ton about. So I'm interested just to read it to get a little more backstory, on them. I actually did see them live once. So, and yeah, again, not a terrible band at all, just not one that was ever. Yeah, I just kind of missed them a little bit, to be honest. I was into already, deeper, more underground stuff when they kind of broke big, so I wasn't paying a lot of attention. But regardless, Jeff's got the book repressed. It's available directly from him over at the Radical Research Podcast. So if anybody else is interested in that and didn't have a chance to pick up an earlier pressing, which have long since gone, you can go over there and treat yourself to a little holiday reading, which I'm going to do after the holidays wrap up. I try not to order a ton of stuff right here before the holidays, just because shipping is slow, packages get damaged more frequently. So I tend to wait for the hubbub to die down just a little bit. But then that condor is going to sweep in and grab him a copy of that book, along with that singing flamingo. Then I'll have something to listen to while I read the book.
There you go.
But yeah.
All right, Ben, what's your next Christmas wish list?
Well, should I go for the big cow?
You do it. You do you.
Big.
You can go for the big one if you want. Absolutely.
All right. If I was ever gonna get an album tattooed on my body, it would be Immortals: Battles in the North. I don't know how that would turn out looking anywhere on my body, but it's one of my favorite albums. And there was a limited pressing of it back when it came out in '96, and it was the clear vinyl edition.
Yep.
Now I have two different picture discs and the OG black vinyl, but I would love to have it on clear vinyl. And it currently goes for about $1,000.
Is it up to that much now?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit! I could have bought it for $200 about 2 or 3 years ago. They had a copy in the local store, and I checked it real carefully, and it was the original press.
Wow.
And I kind of tried. I was like, oh, that's really cool, but I don't personally like that album that much. So yeah, it sold real fast. I think they sold it online.
Shit.
I want to say it was like 225, maybe something in that neighborhood. But this would have been 2019, 2020. Somewhere
about
there.
6 or 7 years ago, I had a guy offered to sell me just the vinyl, not the jacket, for like $300, and he was like, "You just put it in the jacket you already have." I don't know.
That's not the same. He's not a true collector. That doesn't work that way.
And I always think about this, like, I've got a ton of albums on my want list that are like $50, and I'll never pay $50 for the fucking things. But if we go out to eat, we're going to go out to eat on Christmas Day. We're going to a Chinese place, and I'll probably drop $75 on whatever we eat. No problem. It doesn't make sense.
It's the best lo mein you ever had.
Yeah.
That was the Christmas we discovered Chinese turkey.
Or like, I'll put new tires in the car for $1,000. It's worth it. Yeah, I'll do that. But I'm not dropping $1,000 on this fucking record. No way.
Yeah.
No,
that's a lot.
We got to stay within our boundaries, right?
It's important to set limits sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, damn, I didn't know that record had gotten that expensive. But yeah. I gave it a good hard look see when I saw it, because I had never seen it on the clear vinyl, but I checked. It's like, damn, that is legit. That is pretty fucking cool. But
when did you see it?
It It was probably 2020 because I think it was during the pandemic, but maybe it was right before things got locked down. So in that time frame, they had it on the wall at the local store. Just yep.
How much? $50?
No, it was at least 150, but I think it was more like around 200, 225.
What would you have done, Ben, if you wandered into a store and saw it sitting on the wall for $200?
Oh, I'd buy it for sure.
Would you?
No question. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah, if I knew you had
The
wanted
most
it, I
I've ever
would've-
paid for any vinyl is the black edition of that for $185, and that was 2001 or something like that. Paid too much for it, actually.
It happens. Well, I guess
Yeah.
I'm next. I'm next. Is that how this goes? Okay.
Yes, that was Ben. Now you're up.
Against better judgment, as all of you know and roll your eyes about weekly, Halloween's one of my favorite bands, and
What?
part of it is
Echoing?
Heckoween is compounded by the fact that my kid also loves them. So we go out on a ride in a car. It's always Halloween or Glory Hammer or something along those lines. But I've got most of the Kiska albums on vinyl other than Chameleon and Pink Bubbles. But I'm starting now to start poking into the Darius era on vinyl. I've got Better Than Raw and Seven Sinners, 2 albums which I think are awesome. So I'm probably trying to decide if I really need to buy all of the Halloween catalog on vinyl as well. I've got about almost half. I got the new one on vinyl and the 2 I mentioned of the Darius stuff, but I love his albums and it might happen because I just kind of want them. I don't know. It's a sickness. I don't need them. I have them all on CD. So yeah, that would be fun things to find underneath the tree. But some of that stuff was just recently reissued. I think the Dark Ride was just reissued and some other stuff too, which
My God-Given Right, I think, has been.
My God-Given Right. Yep.
I think I've seen that. Wait. Yeah, that's the one with the Statue of Liberty on the cover.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that on the shelves with the new releases lately.
Yeah, they've reissued some of them, so it'll probably happen as I come across them. Am I going out and actively hunting them down? I did get Seven Sinners. I ordered it thinking I was getting the CD expanded edition of the CD because that had bonus tracks I hadn't heard, and I got it was the vinyl expanded edition vinyl for $20. I'm like, holy shit, I got a good deal on this. It was songs I haven't heard on it, so that was cool. But yep, it'll keeps the hunt fun on these late nights when I'm up and everybody's in bed and I'm surfing around eBay and Discogs and other places as well. But
late night shopping gets us in trouble, man.
Oh, it's rough, and I do so good, and then I fall off the fucking wagon. And when I do, it's like 2 weeks of like, 3 record boxes out at the door every other day. It's like, I'm so dumb. I should just keep buying consistently and not go on the wagon, because when you fall off, it's the worst. It's the most expensive.
Yep. Oh, S&T got Dark Ride recently. If anybody in the chat, by the way, doesn't check out the S&T Young channel on YouTube, definitely go check it out. He shows so many absolutely cool records.
He's so
amazing bass
passionate.
player too.
The
Amazing
energy,
bass player.
How he feels about certain records, like it makes me want to go just pick it up just from this, like Disciples of Power. He was showing that one. I was like, fuck yeah, man, that's a really awesome one. It just the enthusiasm.
If you got some downtime during the holidays and need to check out another channel that you haven't explored yet, S&T Young, that's a great one to go look at.
Yep. The Dark Ride, there's a couple songs that I don't like. Their obvious attempt to try to be a little more grungy, but there's songs on there like The Departed, which are just fucking awesome. Makes it worth the entire. Anyway, we're talking about Halloween. Rick, you're up.
Yes, Low Noise. That does absolutely suck.
Not to get off track. I'm glad we were with a group of people who kind of get it, because when people outside of this come to me, but hey, did you catch that Netflix show or whatever? I'm like, nah, I kind of spent last night looking at my Discogs list, curating my Bandcamp list. They wouldn't get it, Before I reveal my next thing, you guys brought up like Typo Negative. So I've been spinning this today. Hours of Worship. It came out back in September. Cold That You Left. Dark Descent has copies. And it's kind of like perfect for this weather that we're dealing with right now. Just sort of melancholy, just gloomy, come with something a little sad boy. This right here, it's like a little bit of Fields of Nephilim with early Cure, with some of the keyboard ambience of something like Typo, but without the the heaviness. So definitely check it out. Hours of Worship.
Add
Been
me
really
right now
enjoying it.
from New York.
Yeah, it's really good. I think you might dig it. All right. So this particular thing that I will love on my stocking.
Sorry, Rick. I'm reading Ryan's comment, and as usual, he's just cracking me up. Want to browse?
There's this thing that I kind of look at it as almost like it's kind of serious, but it's also kind of like a running joke. And because everybody in the VC that I've seen shown this particular album, it's always like the bootleg, right? Because and I figured whoever can be responsible to reissuing this thing should just reissue it, and that is Monstrosity's Imperial Doom.
Yeah.
I will have an OG of this, and everybody seems to have the bootleg. But
I probably have the bootleg. It's a Russian boot. It's really well done. I have the OG tape, but I bought it on CD a year or so ago, and I'm sure for the price I paid, it wasn't a legit copy. It looks and sounds good, but
it's about time. Come on, guys.
It's time. What the fuck's the problem?
Yeah.
I do have a real copy of it. I paid like $60, I think, for it about 8 years ago or something. Maybe 6 years ago.
Yep, that's reasonable. these
Are you
days.
sure it's legit?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds very confident. Because mine, I got my copy of it. I'm looking at it. It looks great. It doesn't, because you could tell the Russian boots, they typically have like an off, something about them.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't have it, but the price I paid, it's not a legit. It's no way in fuck it's a legit copy. But
no, this is when I went to that Half Price Books and they had like a shit ton of radio stuff from Black Mark.
Yeah.
So like I bought Seances, Salt Red Dies on CD and a ton of other stuff. I dropped $400 in a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I would do it again.
Me too. I would do it too. No, we're all sick monkeys.
This should also get reissued too, right?
That's the stupidest fuck. Look at that cover art. I'm blow it up here.
Yeah.
That is such crappy art. The Millennium album, the last Corpse Grinder album with them, is even worse art. It's like, oh my god. Hey guys, Joe got a computer with Photoshop on it. Ooh, he's a genius. He's a design genius. Yeah. Alan, you're next.
Okay.
You see the CGI in a Mortal Kombat movie. It kind of looks like that.
Rick's still in the Mortal Kombat. All right. Time to break out something kind of cool. This is something I've wanted for a long time, and I've tried several times to get this on eBay, and I always come in third. Never even can make it to second. I'm always third.
Not a race.
There's always two people who just, continue to, bid against each other and, get it up there out of my price range. But it is, I got some pictures. So it's this. This is a promo edition of Megadeth's Rust in Peace. It was given out to record stores to put up on the counter to kind of show it off. It comes in a coffin-shaped box, which is what we're looking at right now, which is cool enough. But the really neat part,
Never even heard of that.
when you open it up, it's got a little, Vic inside with that artwork where he's coming up out of the big radioactive vat. It's just a little flat cardboard, but you lift up the Vic, and the CD is laying in the coffin underneath him. It's the same album.
It's even less It's even more underwhelming than the new dissection pop-ups.
This is like 1990s pop-up technology. Let's be fair here. This wasn't done on a 3D printer or some shit. I've always thought this was a really cool promo item with the coffin and the little lift up. It's cool. The same album. There's, as far as I know, there's absolutely no difference in the pressing. There's no
the CD itself looks like the same screen print on it.
Yeah, so. I think it very much is the exact same CD, just in this cool coffin box thing. I have heard that, the pop-up is pretty flimsy. I've heard it's a bitch to get the CD out from underneath the thing. I don't care. I've always thought that was just so cool looking.
That's all that matters.
It looks really neat. I've always wanted it. So this is something that, some year when it's time to send the wife on, the Christmas quest for, the sort of, big game hunter type item to put under the tree for me, this is the one I'm going to ask her for, because I can't win the damn thing to save my life. Just can't.
So it's like they did a bunch of, it's like online to buy on occasion.
It turns up on eBay from time to time. It turns up on Discogs from time to time. There's one on Discogs right now, but it's got a ridiculous like $400 price tag. Nobody pays that for it. It's not that hard to find. I mean, this is while it's a bit older, it was still, a major label release. There's a lot of these out there. So no, this isn't like trying to find a unicorn. This is like just, I don't know, trying to find a less hard to find unicorn.
All right.
Well, fuck, that didn't go anywhere. But anyway, one day I'm going to have that coffin promo box for Rust in Peace. The wife, that'll be the perfect thing when she asks for one of those. I want to get you something nice this year, dear. What would you like? Just like, I got just the ticket for you, honey.
She went to Jared.
She went to Hangar 18.
All right.
That is my pick.
Ben,
something else from either Ben Smasher's current list or Days of Christmas Past.
Oh, I'm currently bidding on Ceremonium's Nightfall in Heaven 7-inch, and it's at $10.50. I'd love to win this guy.
I own that 7-inch.
The gym. Yeah. Oh, where
you pay your cards right.
I'd love to have a copy of Forced Entry, As Above, So Below.
Pat sent me that on tape, and I like it, but it's not as good as Uncertain Future. I love that record.
Sure, yeah.
But Pat loves As Above, So Below. And I think it's all where you jump in on that band.
Right. It's just kind of a special record. I got into that and Invocator. Like those two albums to me are like brothers. And I got reissued, the Invocator, this year. But where's my watch list? I'm trying to find my eBay watch list. I don't really use eBay that much.
I don't use it nearly as much as I used to, but every now and then you got to.
Last weekend, I lost 2 auctions that I thought I was going to win for a Symphony of Grief set. There was like 7-inch, and then there was a compilation. That was actually a bootleg CDR that I thought
I've got those two. I think I've got those two. I'm sorry. You need to come up here with a large sack and then strike in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. And
I bring it everywhere I go, buddy.
Yep. Yeah. Marty's getting a tea bag for Christmas.
But actually, I burned my own Symphony of Grief discography CD, and I listened to it in my car all week long. It was great.
There you go. They're good. Incantation, Worship with a Drum Machine.
Yeah. The EP with I think most of their stuff has a drum machine, but the one that they had on Wild Rags that most people know was not very good. Their demo stuff, their split stuff, and their rehearsal, where it's at.
Right on. All right. I'm next. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, what don't I have on vinyl that I would love to have on vinyl to complete the set? I have never seen this on vinyl. Light Beyond. This is a bootleg. I think it was probably curated by a friend of the channel that has been on the channel. We're not going to say his name out loud just in case that stuff is protected. I might be wrong here, but this is a pretty good boot of Life Beyond. And also Dive Bomb did an official reissue of it with the not the correct artwork, which drives me fucking crazy. God, do the right artwork. But
ooh.
I would like to see Life Beyond on vinyl just so I have all 4 of their albums on vinyl. There was also a single they did, a 12-inch single that I've seen on eBay once that I would also like to get. I'm a big Death Row fan. I like all their albums, but Deception Ignored, their super techie one, is my favorite. This one is the follow-up to Deception Ignored. It is a lot less technical. They're trying to... I don't know how you come back from an album like Deception Ignored. And this kind of shows it's good. Is it great? No, I would just want the vinyl for a completist collector scum reasons. But yeah, that would be a fun one under the tree for sure. Rick, you're back.
I'm going to change things up a little bit. So I'm going to pull up 2 gifts that I haven't wrapped up yet. That's going to some nephews. Kids are a little older. And by older, I mean like probably 8 or 9. And this is a particular toy that came out. I was kind of a little already old for it, I guess you could say. I was in my mid-teens. And I started my first job. So I had a little bit of money, but I was trying to be a good boy and not buy the toy, you know, and save up for, you know, bike, maybe college one day, that kind of a thing. And that was around the time these McFarlane toys were dropping. And these were supposed to be like the big boy toys, you know, like it says it right here, 14 and over. So, you know, I don't think these 8 or 9 year olds are going to swallow that pistol, you know, so or whatever other guidance they need. But they're still making them. I guess they're still relevant. They look cool as shit.
Yeah.
So I've been tempted, you know, and I know like they've done other things and other kinds of toy lines besides the Spawn stuff. But I still think this stuff is still pretty rad. So I think that you know, they will make some pretty cool gifts, you know.
Totally.
Rick, I gotta say,
when you
go to move again, you better make sure you're not in a smaller space than you are now, because we all tend to expand into the bigger spaces. If you ever go to move and it's a smaller place, you're fucked.
You know, I started to feel that pinch with those pop toys. I told myself I wasn't gonna do that. I told myself this, and I'm doing it. And I went to the store. They had these gigantic entire sets of the Kiss guys. Who else? It was like, you know, I know there's an Alice in Chains one. There's like entire bands, like, and the whole damn stage and the whole getup. I'm looking at this going, I'm not gonna do it. I'll let you know the next year if I live to
I'll let you know. We'll see it in the back next week. You're talking about is like fuck.
You know, back in the 90s when these were coming out, I was good. I never bought it. I never ended up with a Spawn toy, but I did buy that soundtrack with the you know, it's terrible.
Yeah,
it didn't age very well. I still have it.
Those toys around the turn of the century were awesome. I've got a couple of them still. The detail on those things is amazing.
You still kind of see it now. I can't compare it to the old ones, not yet, but I mean, compared to everything else on that shelf, this blows it away.
Is that a fucking jackhammer? It looks like he's got a jackhammer there for a tool.
Or some kind of, I think it's a rotary gun of some sort.
Oh, okay. Oh, it goes into like a pistol. It looked like it was like the whole thing was one piece. It was a jackhammer. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if I made the favorite uncle award, but if this doesn't do it, I don't know what will.
All right, Alan.
All right, time to break out a little bit bigger gun here. This one, this shouldn't have been this hard to get, but it has been. There are currently only 2 new wave of British heavy metal 7-inch singles that are still on my want list. Now, there are others I would certainly buy, but it would have to be, you know, that the price is really good, or you know, I can get a bargain on it, something like that. But there are 2 that I would go after pretty hard if they would turn up in good condition, and they just won't. So that's what one of these next ones is going to be. It's the second 7-inch by Tokyo Blade, called, well, Second Cut. Pretty easy to spot picture sleeve.
Fucking cover is terrible.
It's got the tracks Midnight Rendezvous and If Heaven is Hell. The deal with this is that this happened right when the band released these singles. They changed their name. So they had been operating under the name Genghis Khan, and they released a double pack with 2 7-inch singles in it. And this was one of the 2. But literally, as they're like, you know, producing the things, the band decided to switch to Tokyo Blade because, like, you know, 15 different bands were using the name Genghis Khan. So they wanted something a little more unique. And they kind of quickly had to they pulled a lot of the Genghis Khan stuff back. Some of them had labels, you know, pasted over the Genghis Khan labels and shipped out. But a lot of copies got separated into 2 individual 7-inch singles and put back out, you know, kind of the same graphics they had been using with Genghis Khan, but as 2 individual singles. Well, I have the original Genghis Khan double pack, and I have the other Tokyo Blade single that was, split out from the pack. But I've never been able to get this Tokyo Blade single, the other half of the double pack. And it really has never been one of those, mythical top-notch rarities from the new wave of British heavy metal. It's never been an especially high dollar record. But it's just been a very long time since I've been able to find a good one in good condition. One of the big problems is that copies do turn up, but they're bootlegs. This is something that got bootlegged in the early 90s because a bunch of extra sleeves turned up somewhere in the UK.
Oh, God.
And so somebody pressed up a bunch of white label promo copies and put them in the original sleeves. So, yeah, that's what typically turns up. Also, every few months, one will turn up on Discogs. I've got it programmed in where you get the little alert, one item has appeared from your want list. And every time I check, it's always the damn white label, printing from the 90s. It's been ages since I've seen an original one, and it shouldn't be that hard to find. This is not up there with one of those, crazy, it's not a Satan Heads Will Roll single or, a Hollow Ground or something. It's a Tokyo Blade single, but I just cannot find it. So yeah, this is one like I said, there's two new wave of British heavy metal 7-inches that I really want to add to the collection, and this is one of them. I really like that early Tokyo Blade stuff, and I just kind of want this one to then complete the set of those original 7-inches that came out when they changed the name. One day we'll track it down, but it's getting to the point where I might have to call on Santa to help get this one crossed off the list, because I just can't come across the original to save my life. Yeah, one of those items I'm just with. So that would be super cool to find under the Christmas tree bit. We're getting into the borderline epic stuff on my list here.
Okay.
All right, then.
I'm not very familiar with that band. Would you recommend Night of the Blade to start?
Night of the Blade's the second album. No, actually, the deal with Tokyo Blade, the early stuff like these singles and the first album, they're kind of a blend. They're often described as a blend of early Iron Maiden and early Def Leppard. They've got the metal chops of like the first Iron Maiden stuff, but a little bit more of the melodic, sensibilities of early Def Leppard. By the time you get to the second album, they're already getting kind of more mainstream. They switch vocalists, they get a little more glammy. So yeah, I don't mind a few of the later albums, but they head downhill pretty fast if you're not careful. So it might not be in your wheelhouse.
But the first one, I'll have to give it a listen.
The first one, yeah, if you want something that's, again, just Iron Maiden, but they could have actually gone somewhere, but they hit the lineup instability issue and weren't on the right label and all of that. They had a good combination of heavy metal chops, but a little more catchy melodic, sensibilities that could have translated into some actual radio play and some actual hits if they had gotten their shit together just right.
It might surprise you, but I've been listening to Marillion a lot lately.
I remember you mentioning that, not long ago.
I'm shocked. I am a little shocked. I'm shocked, but it's good. It's good. You're next, Ben.
Oh, so I got a good answer for this. I didn't know about this album until maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I think YouTube recommended it to me, and it came on, and I head over heels, blew me away. I couldn't believe this wasn't on Nuclear Blast in 93, 94, something like that. But the band is called Moribund, and the album is called Oracular Eyes. Aren't all eyes oracular? But it was a band's self-released CD, 1,000 copies, and it's amazing. It sounds a lot like Death, Bolt Thrower, all that kind of stuff. I think they were from Belgium, if I'm not mistaken. Copies of it go for about $300 or so. And I really, 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 really want one. I've did the thing on Discogs where you email people that have copies of it.
Yeah.
And I asked them if they would send me scans of the booklet so I can make my own copies of it. And I haven't come up yet. I've been that guy for just that album.
That guy.
Yeah. I did get one guy responding, and he said, yeah, I think I have a copy of it. My whole collection is stored in a garage, and I haven't been there in years. I was just like, motherfucker, give me your address.
I've
I got
come
my
across a
sack.
guy or I've come across a guy or two like that before too. Yeah.
And I said, like, if you ever want to sell it, I'm your guy, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
also,
guy. Oh, go
I
ahead.
even I added the drummer on Facebook, and I have messaged him maybe 6 or 7 times about reissuing it. I would start a label just to reissue this album. It's kind of a goal of mine, but he will not even respond to me. One time he said, "Can I message you tomorrow? I'm going to bed." I was like, "Okay, fine." And I've harassed him ever since. I don't want to like make an enemy out of me, but
Yeah.
he won't entertain it at all. I've emailed other members of the band and got nothing. There's a friend of the band that I added on Facebook too and messaged him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sure they'll do it. Just message them." Yeah. I can't do it.
Yeah. It's always interesting. There are a lot of folks who are in a lot of bands who want nothing to do with their old releases for just whatever various reasons. I hear that story from a lot of different folks where they track someone down to say, "Hey, can we put this back out? Are you interested?" And they're just like, "Fuck no, leave me alone. Do not talk to me about that. Go the fuck away." Just they're very dead set that they want nothing to do with their old music.
Just say yes, and I'll leave you alone. Just say yes.
Yeah, I know. Famously, one member of Weakling is that way. That Weakling thing may never get reissued because there's one member who absolutely will not.
And he's the one that holds the reins to the whole fucking shebang.
Yeah, the person who owns the rights says absolutely not. Forget it. I wouldn't waste my time on it.
Or you could be like Justin Bowling and find the CD in Goodwill for 25 cents.
Justin saved many puppies from drowning in a lake in a former life.
He did pay
Good for you,
for it,
Justin.
though. I think he ended up doing a giveaway. I forget what it was. It was for a GoFundMe thing. Was it for Chromium? Wasn't it? I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Eventually,
I know he was going to give it away. He was like, "I don't like it. I think I'm going to give it away." And I was like, "Dude, just hang on to it. One day you're going to regret it."
Yeah.
Yep. But those are fun. I mean, if you dig around long enough, I mean, everyone has one or two of those stories. If you're in a hobby long enough and dig around enough, everyone will find one or two things like that. And Justin found a really good one there.
Okay,
Marty, I believe it's you.
Well, back to my Discogs wish list, and this is one. It's pissing me off. There's a bunch of these things plentiful in Europe, but I am not about to pay the money to have it shipped. It is the debut Pitch Shifters Industrial vinyl, the original pressing. I love this band's first 3 releases, the first 2 in particular. And I'm also looking for the demo. There's a vinyl. It's cheap overseas everywhere, but you add $25, $30 to it. Shipping, not so cheap anymore. But it was reissued with this cover, which is close, but it's a little bit different. I got sick of waiting, and I won an auction on the 27th of November for this on vinyl for $15. I'm like, okay, this will tide me over. The lady has not done anything with the eBay auction. I just messaged her a second time last night saying, if I don't hear from you by the end of next week, I am filing a claim, getting my $15 back. But I'm looking for the original pressing anyway. This is the universe telling me to wait for the original pressing, which is probably going to be well loved and a little bit wrecked, but I'm fine with that. I love this band. I think they're better than Godflesh. They're crustier than Godflesh. It's like crust punk with an industrial metal vibe to it. I love it. Industrial Rules, their album after it. Well, it's a mini LP, actually. You can see it with the Parasite there. Submit. I fucking love that record. Love it. And then their third album is Desensitized. Oh, there's the picture of the demo on vinyl as well. Big fan of it. Very cool stuff. After that, they got dubstep and very terrible. So ignore them after a certain point. But big Pitch Shifter fan. Those are things I'm looking for. Every time I pick up Discogs, I go and see if there's a US seller that has it for, I'll pay $25, $30 for the vinyl if I can get $5 shipping as opposed to $30 shipping. It just too much.
I don't know what the deal is with Miami Metal Merchant. They always have like pre-orders for stuff coming in from Europe, so I don't understand what's going on there. But right now they have it for $25, It says it's expected to arrive from Plastic Head on January 20th.
It's probably
Well-
the reissue, but right
Oh
on.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I may have to do that because that lady's fucking me. I got it on the 27th and she hasn't responded. The package hasn't moved. It's just sitting there. She isn't doing it. Hey,
I guess
Kellen,
they're the
what's
ones
up,
that
man?
can't, these sellers that can't handle the inventory. It's like I get it all the time. I order something and they're like, "Oh, I guess I don't have it after all. Why the hell did you list
Yeah.
it?" You know, it's just like, I run into it all the time.
Yeah.
First world problems.
Yeah. All right, Rick, you're back.
Well, since you're doing the Discogs thing, I do have an item that's been on my wish list forever. So, and when I show this, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about here. So, there's a bunch of these Trevor Church things, right? Peacemaker, and for a little period, he dropped these EPs, and these CDs were like kind of combined in a set. So it was like EP 1 and 2. So it's got the covers for each part. Here's EP 3 and 4. And again, I got all these on Bandcamp. So I've been listening to them mainly on digital. 5 and 6. And then we got 7 and 8.
God damn.
And somehow I missed out on 9 and 10 and has not been available ever since. So I think it got snapped up and sold out pretty quickly. And the last time it sold on Discogs was on January 25th of 2022 for $25. And there's been a vinyl pressing of it at one point, and there's some dude on eBay right now listing it for $75. You know, I don't get the economics of the Trevor Church stuff. It's like this stuff that he's pumping out, but at the same time, some of it's going for stupid money. All I want is to complete this set, 1 through 10. So I just need 9 and 10, and I got all the EPs, and they're pretty good. But he's not showing any interest in reissuing this at all. He kind of just moved on from these. It was supposed to be like a one-time thing, so kind of sucks. So did this in a limited vinyl run. So as you guys know, this is his more doomier side to Haunt. So, you know, if you guys are Haunt fans, but
I can't
damn
keep
it.
up with Haunt.
yeah, that's the other
That
problem.
guy is so fucking prolific.
Yeah.
Peacemaker is a little easier. There's not as much material, but he did put out these EPs in a very limited time window, and I just need that one disc.
Get a hold of the guy. I'm sure he's online somewhere. Send him a message.
You know, I've been tempted. I think I might just do that. Maybe he'll have a copy laying around somewhere. But damn it, that's the only holdup.
All right, Alan, you're next.
Okay, well, let's see. Wasn't necessarily going to show this, but Aaron and some other folks had asked in the chat. I mentioned last time around there's 2 new wave of British heavy metal singles still entrenched on my want list, and so folks were curious what the other one is. So yeah, this is an obscure one. The band, this is now. If you thought the last picture sleeve was bad, Marty, here's this one. Picture of 2 guys holding beer. The band is ARC Rock Band. I don't know if it's supposed to be spelled out ARC or if it's literally pronounced Arc Rock Band, but either way, this is the name of the band. So there are periods in between it, so I'm guessing it's ARC Rock Band. Songs are Homemade Wine, which is not a particularly good song. Kind of, it's a bar song. It kind of rolls along. It's meant to get folks chanting along a little, maybe. The Chase is the good track. This one's kind of a little slower, atmospheric, moody, got a good heavy sound to it. I like that song a lot. It's just one of those random things. Someone recorded this for me ages ago in a CDR trade, and I liked it enough to, yeah, that's kind of cool. I'll throw it on the want list. And yeah, it's been years and years and years. It does not turn up very often. Sometimes when it does turn up, the picture sleeve's all fucked up or doesn't even have the picture sleeve, or they end up wanting a really stupid price for it. It is a rare single, so I get that. This is not something that, you know, a ton of people are looking for, though. This is not one of those top 10 singles of the era or anything. It might be in the bottom 20 singles of the era. You got to temper your expectations price-wise, folks. Just because it's rare doesn't mean someone's going to throw their entire checkbook at you in order to get a copy of it.
Exactly.
There's not many. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody else have this on their want list. Other people I've recorded and played it for a lot of times are like, that one's kind of primitive sounding. I'm just like, yeah, it is. But admittedly, this is not top-notch musicianship or anything going on. I just like the track, The Chase, and just have always kind of wanted it and never could run it to ground. It's either, got outbid a couple of times here or there, or most of the time, again, the copies are just either not in good enough shape, picture sleeve's not there, or the asking price is just absurd. It's not something I want to pay a fortune for. But that is the other new wave of British heavy metal single that I do not have that's on the want list. And like I said, there are certainly others. I don't have all of them. Don't misinterpret the statement. There's a ton I don't have. There's just some that I don't like, so I'm not going to look for them. And there are others that are just, too outrageously expensive or obscure that there's no point in looking for them, because even if I found it, I'm not paying $3,000 for that. That's just not going to happen. So,
Yeah,
but this one I feel like I
story-
should be able to get for a reasonable price. It just the stars have not quite aligned yet.
I wouldn't know that's a grail. Like scrolling through the record store, looking at something like that.
It looks like it should be $5 and just sit there in the singles bin until it's thrown out in the back. There's nothing about this that makes you think it's good or heavy or old or rare or anything. It's very, very pedestrian looking. Absolutely, you're right. The Tokyo Blade at least kind of that would catch somebody's eye flipping through a box of singles. This one, you just think it's a couple of blokes recording some neo folk or something and played a couple of bars around your hometown. But
there's a good reason why some of this new wave of British heavy metal shit didn't put out a full-length album. People,
Aaron, no, that it is not related to Ark that did War of the Ring. That band did do a second single, and it actually came out before War of the Ring. I forget the names of the tracks on it, but no, not the same band at all.
It does look like a $2 Punk 7-inch.
It kind of, it really does. Absolutely. If anybody's got a copy, I will give $2 for it. Absolutely. Yeah. Just to get it off the damn want list.
And a nod of the elf hat.
I will throw in this elf hat with the $2. Just to sweeten the pot.
And that green tag, which is driving me crazy, coming out of the elf hat.
Oh, that's construction paper that's keeping it up in a triangle.
Oh, gotcha. I thought it was like a to Alan with love from Mel.
Now, my head is not this pointy, naturally.
Right on.
All right, Ben, I believe it's time I passed the candy cane over to you.
Now, somebody mentioned Sempiternal Death Rain in the chat, and Simon just came up with a OG copy of that on vinyl. Simon, is there anything that'll lose that?
Aaron is sending me pictures of his copy of Death Row's Life Beyond. Here, I'll show it to you.
Simon has sacrificed several puppies to some dark deity to conjure records towards him during this lifetime. He's going to pay for it in the next lifetime, but he's making out like a bandit in this lifetime.
Yeah, he is. So I don't know what demon he's sacrificing things to, but Simon's got some killer luck. So does Baron von Doom. He's in Australia or New Zealand. I don't know for sure, but both of those guys are finding a ton of killer fucking OG stuff.
I'm gonna ship my ass to Australia and come back with a bunch of crap.
Yeah. All right. What you got, man?
I've been staring at this on my want list for a couple years. The band is called Upside Down Cross. Anybody remember them?
Yep.
Boston band, kind of crusty, sludgy. Larry Lifeless, R.I.P., sang for them. I love their self-titled album. It's just dirty, grungy, snotty, and just filthy. Tang put it out on vinyl. I have it on CD in '91. I would just love to have a big copy of that guy. It's just big riffs, big sloppy dumb riffs, and I don't know. I just can't pay the $46.98. Too steep. Yeah. Any other fans of Upside Down Cross?
Don't know that one.
They kind of ran with the same crowd as AC. I'm not going to say the whole thing.
Got you.
Members of AC were in Upside Down Cross. Seth Putnam sang with them a little bit. Yeah. Good band.
All right.
And then kind of like a side band called 91. And then they had another side band called Adolf Satan. I'd love to have that on vinyl too.
Oh yeah.
Larry Lifeless, R.I.P.
All right, I am up next. What am I showing? Oh, hold on. I wasn't prepared. Gotta have a picture of it.
This Ryan's a comedian. We got to get him on.
Ryan
Ryan
rules.
always cracks everybody up.
Ryan rules.
It's always if Ryan's in the chat, you are going to laugh in the evening. It's as simple as that.
Well,
Marty, I
I
can
don't
buy
know
some
why. What's that?
Go ahead. I was going to
What's
buy you
that?
some time, but you're ready.
No, we're good. I don't know why I need this, but this one's always evaded me, and every time I decide I'm going to go buy it on vinyl, it just is too much money. Kiss Killers. There's 2 songs on it that I've never heard. I've never hunted them down. I'm sure they suck, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like a best of with 2 or 3 new songs on it. Yeah. The kid in me wants it. One of these
The thing
days.
about that cover that always struck me was that it has the 70s look, but it's got the 80s colors.
Yep.
You
This
know.
was the music from the Elder era where they cut their hair and why is this not focusing? Love that picture of Paul Stanley there. He's like all hamming it up. But yep. Kiss Killers, that would be a fun one to show up on it because I'm really to the point where I don't want to pay for it myself. If someone in my family is like, here you go, Merry Christmas, I'd be like, oh, thanks, Santa. That'd be killer. But yep. Kiss Killers, that would be a fun one. Rick.
Really quick, because I know Kellen is on the chat here, and just want to give him a thanks because this is one thing I can scratch off the list. He sent this to me. I've been wanting this one for quite a while. It's Fatherless. Great album.
Killer cover, killer art. I love it.
Death Doom from Finland. You know, it
Speaks to
falls in
me.
that Catatonia
What's it
range
called?
and
What was it called, Rick?
Asphaltilus. A-F-E-F-O.
Oh, okay. I know.
It
okay.
almost looks like acidophilus, which you find in yogurt.
Yeah, so
I thought
he
you
heard
found
my
that in the
little rant.
adult section.
That album promotes proper digestive health.
For the longest time, there was no like U.S. seller for this thing, and you know, I was like, there, yep. I didn't want to pay that shipping, man. For it.
Oh, he's got 2 records. Look at
Came out-
there.
Yep, that's the EP, right? Or what
Yeah.
they call it, a demo. I don't remember what they called it.
Amazing album.
Just scratching off the list.
Catatonia, Dance of December Soul vibes.
Yep, it's one of my favorites too. But-
Acidophilus. That sounds like what I got after I ate spicy Mexican food.
Mhm.
This right here is kind of what I wanted to show because I love the concept of this, but I've never seen. I know toys were made, but I don't know if it was aimed at little kids in particular. And that was War of the Worlds, and this is the original broadcast. And I know that there was the movie and everything done. And if you look up, there are some vintage toys that were made of these. Those are actually pretty cool.
Ah.
So I don't know if there was anything recently done. So for now, I'm just gonna settle for this. Now, you guys are gonna call this a scalp massager, but I'm not gonna put myself there. So for now, I'll just be enjoying it for this until a proper toy line comes out that I'm really happy with. Just saying.
That broadcast had people jumping off of buildings, killing themselves, thinking that it was real.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why I
that freaked
gravitated
people
towards
out.
it. Like,
Yeah,
there's a
people
sense of
freaked out.
realness to it at the same time. So, yeah, in theory.
All right. Alan.
Okay, let's do a little more reading material because there's another book I've had my eye on. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet, so it went on the Christmas list this year. Maybe this is exactly the kind of thing I can ask my sister for. It's the Finnish death metal book, Rotting Ways to Misery. I think it came out through Decibel Press, if I remember right. Has anybody picked that up? It looks interesting.
I have not. I want it.
Okay, yeah, it looks like a pretty good read. It's a scene I know, obviously, a few of the bands from, but I don't know all the stuff that lurks in the sub basements. So
I went to the Decibel Beer Fest right in the summer, and I was like $10 short. I was like, I already spent everything out, and that book was sitting there in front of me. It was like, I wanted it, but it was like $10 short.
Yeah,
This
it's called Rotting Ways to Misery: The History of Finnish Death Metal, and I think it's about $29 on the Decibel site, so it's not that expensive.
Who
You can
wrote
order
it?
still directly from them? Good question. I do not know, but with this internet thing we've got, we can probably find out real quick.
Maybe you'll find
Let's
a
see.
worship album too if you look hard enough.
Rotting Ways. I can get that anytime. Again, that's
It's
easy.
plenty. It's readily available.
Yeah, there's no rush to get that. Let's see, Rotting Ways to Misery: History of Finnish Death Metal, $29.95 for the U.S. edition. By just got to say here somewhere. 90s Death Metal, 364-page hardcover.
Marcus Makkonen and Kim Stromsolm.
There we go. Yep. So Marcus and Kim. Don't know who they don't recognize those names offhand. Does anybody else? Maybe
Nope.
somebody in the chat knows. Are these folks from the scene? Do they work for a Euro metal zine?
Well, Makkonen is a Finnish name, so it must. One of the
Yeah.
guys is at least a Finlander.
All right, we're narrowing it down a little.
Nailed it. Yeah. Never heard of him.
signed by
Let's
the
see.
author.
Wait, yeah, Decibel has it on their website. It looks like. I'm pretty sure that's.
I see that unholy.
Yeah, it's on
on
Decibel's
there.
page. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. The Kim is from And Oceans and Fester Day.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough then.
Yesterday rules.
I think Fester Day broke up, didn't they? I think they split,
Yeah, I think so.
which sucks.
And
but-
Ocean is gonna have a new album next year.
Yeah, I've seen promos for it circulating around.
Yeah, but yeah, that's another book that again, I think decent chance family member's going to have that under the tree, and if they don't, that's okay. I'll order it come payday at the end of the month once the shipping insanity has calmed down just a tad.
Yeah.
Gotta love the Finnish death metal. They got a darker, weirder take on the whole vibe, which is cool. They always set them apart from the Finnish or from the
Mhm.
Swedish stuff.
Yep, indeed,
Yeah.
indeed. So that's my pick here. Ben, let's toss it over to you.
Did you order that Slumber of Soul and Eyes LP that Svart's putting out? I got delayed a little bit.
I have the CD.
I saw it was delayed. I haven't
Killer.
ordered it.
Yeah. I'm looking at that cover art. It's so awesome how they took like the Demolic and the Demigod and the Unholy guys, and they're all in there with the Pertinence and the Ripikolu. That's rad. Speaking of Unholy, Northern Heritage put out a demo compilation of Unholy a couple of years ago. Must have been like 500 copies, and they're all gone. You just can't get it.
Really? No, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
They were
I
such
love
a
that.
killer band.
Yeah. And there's no other way to get their demos other than original tape copies. So cool release, but yeah, fucking just
How many
dry it
demos
up.
they have? I've only got the one on tape.
I want to say 2 or 3.
Hmm.
Trip to Depressive Autumn.
Yep, that's the one I have on tape. A Wild Rags edition of it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Killer band. Influenced Ruins of Beverast a lot.
Yep. They got 4
And then
demos.
they got Darkness Shall Rise, of course, has an 8 cassette box set of this stuff. I guess that's another way to get it, but I'm not fucking with those stupid boxes of tapes.
Yeah.
Nah.
The only thing worse than a single tape is a box full of tapes. It's cool for folks that like that format, but I am not a tape person.
I just can't believe that format came back. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
comment.
Ugh. All right.
I got some tapes.
I have a bunch of tapes, but yeah.
I had hundreds and hundreds of them, and
Me
one of
too.
the happiest days of my life was when I got rid of those damn things.
Mhm.
I did I literally gave the last several hundred. I just gave them to somebody who wanted. I found
And
a
those-
sucker who
those
was willing to let me
box
load them
sets-
into his car.
They're like those boxes are like more popular than ever. So
I know.
people
And
have them.
they're expensive.
Yeah.
All
I know
right.
Catatonia just reissued like an old rehearse. They re-recorded an old demo track, didn't they? Or a couple of them.
Something.
That was-
Austin was sharing that with me. He's like, listen how killer this sounds. And yeah.
It was amazing, but you could
Yeah.
only get it on that giant tape box set. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right. Next up for me, box sets, some people are really into them. I'm not necessarily that into them, but this is kind of a cool one. This is the I'd like to see this under my tree. The Voivod Forgotten in Space box set. Pretty
Oh,
cool.
what's in it?
I've got the 3 main albums on vinyl already, but it's the bonus shit that the Dimension Hatros demos. What is the other thing that's on here? I'm not reading all this. There's 2 other things that I don't have on here. Oh, okay. Dimension Hatros the demos, No Speed Limit Weekend 86, the Chaos Mongers DVD containing a mini documentary, which is probably in French, plus previously unseen concert from 1987. So yeah, there's some in a 40-page book of photography and brand new interviews with founding member Michael Away Langevin. Yeah, it's kind of a cool deal. It's not something I'm running out to buy because, like I said, I've got all this stuff other than the live album, the demos, and the book, and that would be cool. But if Santa Claus was real, and Jesus pulled his sleigh to my house, that would be absolutely killer to have him waddle down my chimney and shit that out. That'd be great. Santa.
You see, Marty, when you write your Christmas letter that way, that's why he doesn't bring you nothing.
I try.
Dear Santa, would you please enslave Jesus, make him drag your sleigh through the sky, then
If
waddle
Santa's
your
a
fat
metalhead,
ass down
he'd
my
get it.
chimney and give me something?
Yeah. Shit out of fucking box set. That'd be great.
Marty,
Yeah.
they never seem old. They always seem new. Those
Yeah.
3 little words, please and thank you.
Oh, I would say please.
And after waddle down my chimney, please ain't going to cut it.
Yeah.
If he does come down your chimney, it's not going to be cold. It's the lump in the bottom of your stocking. It's going to be smelly and dripping a little bit.
I'll make smelly and dripping. I'll make some really good cookies for him.
He's gonna have to go back to the North Pole with a case of the trots,
Slave Jesus. Yeah.
frozen trots.
What's up, Dwayne? How's it going, Laz? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, a little change in tone after the Christian.
Just a little,
Sorry, Scott Waters. We love you.
a little more blasphemous.
Anyway, Rick, you're up.
All right. This particular band, I think I have all their full lengths on vinyl except for one, and that was scratched off the list when this got reissued. Beyond the Crimson Horizon, Solitude Eternus. So the one I'm missing now, you could probably guess at this point, the debut,
Yeah.
and still has not been reissued. So I'm patiently waiting for it to happen. So I think at the moment, if you want this on vinyl, you have to go with the OGs. I think there was one pressing back in 91. There might have been one other one in the 90s. That's about it, far as I know. So I got this Metal Mind CD for now to kind of tide me over. But again, just give me something. I'll take a reissue for now, just to kind of have it all on wax. But if Metal Santa comes, the OG would be great. Right now I'm not spending over $100 for it. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, Alan.
Oh, bugger. Is it me again already?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was looking up something else. Okay, well, I'm going to do an easy one here. Still a few other newer releases I haven't gotten around to picking up yet. So this would be another low-key, easier thing to track down for somebody, maybe a little stocking stuff or such. Band called Jade with an album called Pacification of Death.
That's a new release.
It's a new release, yeah.
Yeah.
Hasn't been out very long at all. Kind of, I guess it's in the kind of doom death general area of the
It makes
underground.
my head go like this, trying to figure out what's going on as I look at it.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure either, but it's pretty cool looking. I've heard part of it. I have not sat through the whole album, but I've played a few of the tracks online. Sounds pretty good. If it showed up at a local store, I'd pick it up. It hasn't, so okay, we can put this on. This is the kind of thing that one of my relatives can easily order from Amazon and with points and have very little trouble tracking it down. So I'm guessing none of y'all have heard this one.
Nope. Banger TV, I watched a thing they put it on their year-end list.
Yeah, I think Blaine had it on his sort of sounds like Hooded Menace category or something. But yeah, it sounds like an interesting one. So a little something I wouldn't mind picking up from 2022. Anybody in the chat heard this one? Wants to vouch for it or warn me off of it?
I just noticed that the cover is like a bat with his mouth open. I thought it was just a cave. That's killer.
Yeah, John Hines says the Jade record's really good. Might be the only person who's runging on it.
Have not heard it.
We got Brian Arkham in the chat. Hey, Brian.
What's up,
Yep.
Brian?
Brian
See you next week,
in.
brother.
So, all right. Well, John is vouching for Jade. So, yeah. It's and again, that's an easy, low key one to find under the tree, perhaps in a day or two. Actually, yeah, almost down to a day here. It's almost Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. Or no, not Brian. Sorry, Ben. Your turn.
Brian Smasher.
Brian Smasher.
I get called that every once in a while, and I'm on a chat or something. What was I going to say?
My bad.
I forget. Anyways, this band had 5 albums between the years of 93 and 97. They were a duo, and they were married. They got a divorce and split, and that was when like the discography ended and the stuff went out of print. The Moon Lay Hidden Beneath a Cloud. They're not metal. They're like a neo-folk duo from Switzerland. Alvin Julius, who was also in what is it? Some other kind of thing like that, which is a bigger name. But there's something just magical and witchy about the ladies singing. So I have 2 of their albums on CD. They did come out on vinyl, and those are like super rare and expensive. But even the CDs, insanely expensive. All their songs were untitled, so it's like really hard to search for stuff about them. Their albums did have titles, obviously, but then all their lyrics were never printed in their booklets. And then when they called it a day, just before they called it a day, actually, they put out this book that had all their lyrics and the only interview they ever did in it. And it was just kind of like this end of the band. Here's a book if you're interested. And there was only like 50, I think, copies of it out there. A friend of mine has it. I held it in my hands a couple months ago. It's pretty cool. But yeah, all their stuff, just you're never gonna get it.
Moon Lay Hidden Beneath the Divorce Papers.
And Alvin Julius just died last year, so like even harder, I think, to even solve that mess. God. So I think they self-released a lot of their stuff, but then World Serpent picked up their stuff and reissued it kind of on a bigger scale. Then all that stuff just dried up. Every once in a while, copies show up on Discogs between like $75 and $100 for the CDs. Man, but
wow.
Awesome singers, awesome music. It's really like relaxing, but kind of ghoulish and witchy and spooky, Halloween-y kind of stuff. I listen to them a lot.
Oh, here we go. Anybody here that's from Michigan? Breaking news. Governor Whitmer activates state emergency operations center due to hazardous weather conditions. It hasn't stopped fucking blizzarding for a long time. We're getting a shit ton of snow. Glad I don't have to be anywhere except right here with all you fine people. It's all a wonderful day. Wonderful day.
I actually went to the store today. It was fucking hellish.
Yeah.
Man.
We're over 2 feet of snow. Easily over 2 feet of snow. No problem. Okay. Next up for me. I love me some Fields of the Nephilim, and I have this on CD. But I'm trying to get the early stuff all on vinyl. I've got a whole shit ton of singles on wax. I have not found an affordable price of Fields of the Nephilim's Elysium. It's a 2 LP set. It goes for a bit of money. I know it's been reissued. I'm kind of wanting the original pressing of it just because I'm collector scum. If you're not a Fields of the Nephilim fan, I should make myself bigger for this. It's gothic at its core. It starts off kind of like a gothic spaghetti western hybrid. As they go on, their second album, The Nephilim, is a little bit darker. And then this album is just completely a from start to finish a very depressive album. There are 2 songs on this thing that every time I listen to it bring me to tears. Not that that's a fun thing to admit in front of a public forum, but it's true. Yeah.
J-Dog says you're a puss.
Yeah, well.
Bro, toughen up.
Yeah. Get swole. Not sad. Anyway, this is a great album. Like I said, I have the CD. I'm not without this music. It's just it'd be kind of fun to have it on wax is all. It'd be a cool one to show up under the tree for sure. Love the record. So good.
Yeah. I'm gonna download that and listen to it.
It's really dreamy, dreary, atmospheric.
Mhm.
It's really good. It's a great
Yeah.
record.
Indeed.
Hey, Kevin, my wife's in a Tears for Fears. I've heard all their albums actually, other than their new one that just came out. They're great, well produced, amazing records. Good band.
Good, yeah.
They were awesome.
Listen to it.
Yep. All right, Rick.
This is I'm going to show a classic. I've been kind of eyeballing it. It's actually on my eBay watch list. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. This is a kind of a band that's no longer together, but they kind of struggled. They were on Casablanca, and they were kind of paired up with Kiss. They've even opened up for Kiss back in. They're from Ohio, so they kind of had that bit of that boogie rock, biker rock kind of sound, and then eventually they put out this album, which is probably their only metal album, I guess you could say. It's more of a heavy metal album, and then the band eventually disbanded. It was headed by Eric Moore, who passed away not too long ago. So that's the Gods, the Mongolians album. Know if anybody's
Never heard of
familiar with this.
Never heard of it. No.
I know the
It's
band,
pretty
but I
good.
don't know that album.
This is a gem right here, and they were dropped from Casablanca from their once they released their second album, which was not nearly as strong. So Eric's been trying to, in the '80s, has been trying to get this band up and going, and eventually, this is pretty much where they hit their peak. And I don't know, in my eyes, this is a pretty good '80s gem. So if you guys see it anywhere, definitely worth picking up. But they were not able to keep this momentum going after this album. They had a hard time, kind of staying and pretty strong there. But yeah, so definitely want to get this on wax. So I might pull the trigger on it, but it's definitely on my want list. GODZ. So definitely cool. Mongolians.
I would love to come out there and dig through your collection. You've got such a diverse swath of music stuffed in those bins. It would be so much fun to see what you got. Very cool.
Some are really weird.
Oh yeah, no, I get and respect that though. I dig that.
No, thanks.
You got to have diversity or you get burnt out on shit. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Talk a lot. I gotta go potty. I'll be right back.
All right, I can do that. Oh, he's going to miss like another shitty looking 7-inch sleeve here.
Oh no.
So, well, I said there's only a couple of new wave of British heavy metal singles on the want list. There's a bunch of obscure U.S. Singles from just small time bands, independent presses, bands that never really got out of their hometown city or beyond their own region, but did press up singles just as something to sell to the crowd, give away to friends and family and such. And so they're a real pain in the ass to track down now for a lot of them. Some of them are expensive. A lot of them really aren't that bad, especially compared to new wave of British heavy metal singles. One that I've been looking for a number of years now is a band from Louisiana called Paragon. Now, there were several Paragons operating in the U.S. metal scene at the time. There's one that released a pretty rare 12-inch item. There's another one that's a little better known. This is none of those bands. It's these guys. So Paragon, here's your logo. And the front of your picture sleeve is the guys hanging out doing weird stuff. Having some fun. They look like fun guys to hang out and drink a beer with. Just don't
Wait,
fall
he's wearing
asleep.
pants, right?
I
can't tell.
probably some kind of something's covering things. Maybe we won't zoom in too
It
much
changes
further
the
on
whole
that.
context of the image if he is or if he isn't. I'm just saying.
But yeah, as far as I know, this is really the only thing they made. It's got 2 tracks on it. One of them is called Dancing Mariadoc, That's all we're going to say about that song. But the other track, the flip side, is called Image Chamber, and it's a killer song. Love it to death. I will buy this single just to get the Image Chamber track. Came out in '82. This is the Discogs entry. I've only seen it come up for sale a couple of times. One time, a good buddy, collector friend of mine over in Sweden, beat me to the punch on it on eBay, but I cannot hold that against him. He's got a great collection, and we look for the same stuff. We've helped each other track down records in the past. So yeah, Christian, if by chance you're watching, cheers. Haven't heard from you in a while. And yeah, and then it's only turned up once or twice otherwise. The funny thing is that one song is on one of those little radio station compilations from Louisiana. So we've all seen these in cutout bins and cheap vinyl bins where, back in the 80s, every FM radio rock station across the nation had to have a contest, battle of the bands kind of thing for the local scene, usually sponsored by Budweiser or, some other beer company that would have, just all these, no-name bands. If you're real lucky, maybe there's one band that went on to, open for Twisted Sister when they came through town or something. Paragon's actually featured on one of these things. It's literally called something like Gumbo Rock, 107.5. And lo and behold, Paragon's Image Chamber is on that compilation. I've got the comp, but I don't have the actual Paragon single. So this is definitely getting into Santa Claus, what I'd really like for Christmas, Daddy needs a job and Mommy's drinking too much. But what I really want for Christmas is one of these, please. And thank you, sir. And see, Marty, that's how you ask politely and get what you want one day.
Pull that sleigh, Jesus.
Ignore him, Santa. I don't know this man. But right here, if you're swinging through Baton Rouge and you find a copy, I can give it a good home.
Those are the same dudes that were drinking on the other 7-inch cover, isn't it?
This is their ne'er-do-well cousins from the South. Yeah.
They want a road trip.
It's another one that, looking at it, flipping through a box of records, there's nothing about it that says it's heavy. There's nothing about it that says it's good or rare or anything. And it's another one. This is not something that a ton of people are searching for. This, if you find this and you put it on Discogs with some ridiculous price tag, nobody is going to buy it. If you list it for something reasonable, yeah, you'll move it pretty quick. But don't assume just because it's some rare pressing that there's 1,000 people waiting to pay $1,000. There's not.
Yeah.
There's just not. But yeah, that one song is super cool. One day it'll be mine. Probably not tomorrow, though. All right, Ben, let's pass it over to you.
What you got, Ben?
That's one thing that's interesting to kind of differentiate. Sometimes there's things you want, but you wouldn't have to pay more than $20 or $30 for, but you just never, ever, ever find copies of it. Yeah. So if someone thinks that you're like, you've been waiting a really long time for this and I've got it, why don't you give me $300? You're going to be like, it's not worth it. No.
Nope, not even close.
I'll just keep on waiting. By the way, if anybody is looking for these under their Christmas tree, I'm selling these on eBay currently. We got Begotten.
That's a Catatonia
ridiculously weird
cover there.
Yeah. And Blood Diner. First they greet you, then they eat you. I should be able to get about $75 each for these guys, so that's going to go into the new computer fund.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure I ate at that Waffle House. It's outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
Yep.
Did it come with a complimentary?
I actually ate there on Christmas morning, nonetheless, once upon a time, too.
Did it come with a complimentary pubic hair?
I'll save that story for when it comes back around here.
All right, getting down to the dregs of my list, but I've always covered, not always, but this album came out in '98. The band is called Sad Legend. They're from Korea, and this came out on the other Hammerheart Records. There was a Korean label that put out some great stuff. Kind of a doomy black metal. Hey, Ken, how's it going?
What's up, Ken? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. Happy holidays.
Everything. Ken, you have everything. You don't need anything for Christmas.
Yeah, he does. He's missed maybe one or two, but that's about it.
So yeah, Sad Legend were this kind of doomy-ish black metal kind of thing, but really polished, above board. Reminds me kind of like of Borknagar sometimes. Really catchy, clean vocals, like Olden Domain kind of era. But man, awesome songs. And like stuff on that Hammerheart label are just out of print, but they had great stuff. Copies, let's see, it's sold for $200 at one point. There's a copy on there for 72. It might be a Russian bootleg. Okay, here we go. No booklet. Yeah, so I would have to pay $140 to get a copy of it right now. Not doing it, but amazing record. Ken, do you have Sad Legend in your collection? Probably not.
All right. This is not a hard record to find. I've got it on tape and CD, but it's one of my favorite punk records by one of my favorite punk bands. Subhumans, the EPLP. This is the first Subhumans I ever heard. It's like a compilation of a bunch of 7-inches on one album. It's great. Super great. UK punk. They threw in a bit of a reggae thing here and there. Then they splintered off and started a side band called Citizen Fish, which is a lot of reggae. But I'm a big Subhumans fan. I've got all their records, I think, on tape or CD. I've got a few of them on vinyl. I'm starting to pick them up on vinyl. I've picked up several here recently-ish. But this is my favorite. This is the first one I ever heard, and it's probably some of their best material. Oops, going dark. But yeah, Subhumans from the UK. There's also a Canadian Subhumans. Not the same band at all. But great band.
Oh.
Check them out. Rick has disappeared. There he is. Slayer.
That's because I was pulling
Ben
the
mentioned he's
CD.
getting down to. Oh, sorry, Rick. Ben mentioned he's kind of getting down to the bottom of his list. So yeah, if we've got one or two more big things that we'd like to show, mention, chat about, it's probably time to pull out the stops for the big things.
Yeah.
All right. This is actually a pretty easy one. It's just another one that I really like and have it on CD. I definitely would love it on vinyl. Rose to the North.
That's going to happen eventually. We're going to repress it at some point.
I'm just waiting.
Be patient. It's coming. It's coming.
One of my favorites. But
Yep.
awesome. I love them all, but this was definitely up there.
It's coming.
Is that everyone's favorite? Probably.
I would think Kentucky. We just sent the 10-year anniversary of Kentucky to the plant yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Cool.
So anybody that's been looking for expensive copies of Kentucky online, it's going to be readily available here in a couple months.
Yeah. Roads to the North is the hardest one for me to get into, to be honest. It's not that it's bad. It's just I've always had more trouble getting into that one than any of the ones before or after.
The last song on that album, Chasing the Grain or Chase the Grain, is so fucking good. Such an
there's good stuff on it. Just for that one always seems very dense to me.
This was the first one I've listened to, so maybe I'm more attached to it because of that.
You just love it because I sing on it.
Yeah, he does.
That way?
He sings on it. Yeah,
That's why it's so hard to get through. That's why it must get so dense.
Yeah.
That extra, that bend factor.
All right, Alan, you are next.
Okay. Just a quick tie into the last item. Really do have the compo. Rock Gumbo K94. They're
Sweet cover.
Buried down here on the very last Paragon's Image Chamber. You ever try finding a local FM radio compilation from the ass end of Louisiana that was printed 40 years ago? I don't recommend doing it. As much as a pain as the single's been to find, this was... I did some things to get that. Things I'm not proud of. But let's see. I think I promised a Waffle House story before I showed my last item. So yes, I really did have a Christmas breakfast in a Waffle House outside of Memphis, Tennessee, once upon a time. This would have been Christmas, let me think, 98. This was a bad, 98, fall 98 was not a good year for me on multiple levels. I was wrapping up my time in Texas, but didn't have my next, anything lined up for several months after that. So I was kind of burned out on stuff. So I just arranged just going to, go go crash with my folks for a few months, and then everything is set to relocate after that. But there was this awkward gap in between. It's just like, screw it, we'll just pack things up. There's no reason to stay in Texas. I've got no work left here. But there's no reason in going straight to North Carolina because I'm not going to be on a payroll until August, July. So anyway, had to pack everything up and move out in December 98. And for the old time who keep up with the history of winter storms like the one we're dealing with right now, December 98 is when a immortal level ice storm swept right through the middle of the country. Everything like along the I-40 corridor was just literally turned into a fucking skating rink. And yeah, my dad had driven out there to help, me pack up stuff and drive back. From Lubbock back to where they're at in Virginia, we could have done it in 2 days. We could have driven halfway one day and halfway the next day under normal conditions. These were not normal conditions. Just getting to Lubbock was hellish for him. I mean, this was the kind of ice storm where he's like working his way across I-40. The salt trucks are doing donuts on the interstate in front of him and flopping over into the ditch. It's just like, well, fuck me. It took us like 3.5 days to get back across country because you couldn't drive until the sun was up to start thawing things out a little bit. And you had to be off the interstate before it turned dark because it just completely turned into another sheet of ice. We got stuck outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. There's just this very casual hill going up that chunk of I-40. And we just sat there and watched every car ahead of us try to grind its way up and just literally slide right back down like in a cartoon. The animal's trying to run up the slide and just come sliding back down the ramp. So we didn't even nope, I guess we're staying in Little Rock tonight. Yeah, so the third day of our voyage through hell, we woke up, we were outside of Memphis, Tennessee, and the only thing open was a Waffle House. So he and I parked our asses at the counter at Waffle House and had breakfast for Christmas in a Waffle House. Merry holidays. So yeah, in a way that experience just summarized that whole fall. The past several months were just a mess. Let's move on to something a little more pleasant now that we've got a traumatic story out of the way. Number one item. I have been the best boy all year. And I challenge any motherfucker to prove me wrong. Oh, God, I just messed it up. Oh, crap.
That's a dunce cap you're wearing, right?
I'm sorry, Santa. But yes, if we're just going to go like into full-on Gandhi choir boy mode and shoot for the top of the heap, here's what I would ask for Santa in return. Top item on my want list has been for years. It's an album LP by a band out of, I believe they're Arizona, called Wars Wolf. This is the cover. Wars Wolf with a Z in the middle because it was the 80s and you had to spell your name.
Okay.
And there's the logo. It's okay. It's not going to win any graphic design awards, but it's not bad. It's kind of a very straightforward metal sounding album for its day and age. I like it. The singer's got, kind of a gruff voice, decent personality. It's not going to win any awards for guitar heroics or any of that kind of stuff. There's a Blondie cover included in the track list. I think it's Call Me, if I remember right. Yep. I love this album to death. I've got a cheap CD bootleg of it. Absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorite U.S. independent pressed things from the 1980s. This album does not show up for sale very often. The band, never went very far. It was on a little nothing label. It had a
Christian band?
Oh, definitely not.
Well, there's a crucifix underneath their logo. I was curious.
Fair enough question, but no. One reason the band didn't last very long, one or more members ended up incarcerated. I've heard different versions of why. Some stories involve mob connections, others involve child pornography. Some of them were involved in some shady shit. Some of the people
I
with
heard he
the
stole a whole chicken from a grocery store.
the whole chicken, feathers and
Yeah.
all. There was some shadiness with the record label they were on, kind of just using it to maybe launder money. That it was, just a front for money laundering schemes. Just weird stuff had gone on with this band. So the album, they didn't make many of them. It's a pain to find, and this is one that you either love it or hate it. There are some big collectors I know who don't like the album at all. They're not really interested. Other people like myself really love it. The problem is, I'm not one of the big collectors who can pay the going rate for this kind of thing. I've seen it offered for sale a few times. I had it offered to me once. It was going to be, they never quite nailed down like, are you interested in buying? I'm like, well, yeah, how much do you want? Well, how much would you give? I'm just like, I don't price other people's merchandise.
Yeah.
You're selling, you tell me how much you want. There's no benefit to me to try to put a price tag on someone else's item. I suspect he was wanting somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 for it.
What's wrong with that?
Absolutely nothing. If your Daddy Warbucks or Scrooge McDuck or Richie Rich or something, but it's easily $1,000 record, even on a bad day
where you pay your mortgage for a month. You're good.
Yeah, if you've misspelled it on your eBay search and you accidentally listed it under the funk and soul section instead of rock and metal where it needed to be, you're still going to get over $1,000 for the album. There's just not much avoiding it. There's an unofficial bootleg pressing of it, which it's a funny thing to bootleg, but there's a Japanese bootleg on vinyl, and that even just getting the boot will easily cost you $100 or so. There are some slight differences in the cover, so it's a pretty easy boot to spot as long as you know which details to look for on the cover art. You can get a CD pressing of it. It's not that hard to hear the album, but that original press, it's been the number one thing on my want list for quite a while now. But there's no way I'm paying the going rate for it. It's going to be one that I've either got to pull a Justin and stumble into it in a Goodwill store, or I got to be on the top of Santa's nice list and hope that he's got a spare. So,
you're there. You're at the top.
I'm working on it. I made it in the top 12% this year, but yeah, that may not be good enough for a Wars Wolf Under the Tree. That it is a hard record to find. This is one of those things that collectors of independent U.S. metal vinyl from the 80s would consider one of those holy grail things. It's not quite as notorious as like Militia or Wizard. Those are just better heavy metal albums. More people like those and want those than this one. There are some folks that listen to this and think that sounds kind of crappy, but I love it to death. So for me, yeah, absolute grail. Maybe one day I will pass it over to Ben and catch up on what Aaron's typing here.
All right, Ben.
Carpet pisser.
Carpet pisser. That's awesome.
Somebody's name.
Oh, we got a motley crew in the chat, huh? Well, since I kind of got to the dregs, I just kind of wanted to show off a couple grails that I got this year. Far Beyond Divine Horizons, Crystal Age on CD. OG
I got
press.
the tape. I got the tape of it. Oh, you got an OG press? Cool.
I paid like $60 for this on eBay, not knowing that this was going to happen soon after. So this is still available. It was limited to 200 copies. I think you guys should get on this thing.
Still available?
Yes. What the fuck? So
Wow.
speaksvolumes.bigcartel.com. Pick this up.
I was going to get it, but I didn't want to pay the international shipping. God, I'm so cheap.
What? The label's in the U.S.
Are they really?
Yes.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm stupid. Whatever.
They're raising their prices too. I have no.
I gotta think in a couple years from now, these things are people are gonna be clamoring for this son of a bitch, and you'd be an idiot. Not
Why
to
they
buy
only
it.
do 200 copies? Of course, if it still isn't sold out, I guess they knew something more than we did.
Yeah, it's remastered, and they added a demo to the end of it. It's got this nice insert. I love this thing.
Yeah, it's a cool ruse for sure.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I don't know if it's, big time dollars good, but it's good.
I think the death metal nerds will come around to it in the next couple of years and really be clamoring for it. So get on top of it now and pick it up, man.
I mean, why was that band and what was the other band that he was in with Jesper Stromblad and I've got the CD, double CD
Hammerfall.
reissue. No, before that. They're in a death metal band.
Dimension Zero? Ceremonial Oath?
No.
Yes.
Oh my God. Ceremonial Oath. That's what I'm thinking of. Ceremonial Oath.
The one I just said, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Derp. I heard the first one you said. I was discrediting you on that, and I didn't hear the right one you said.
Also, Liars in Wait.
Yep. Only a 4 song. They only did ever 4 songs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That shit was super brutal and almost hard to listen to. It's so brutal. But
so there's an interesting question, kind of a side topic tied to that one, Ben. You mentioned 200 copies sounds very low, but then it hasn't sold out yet. What is a good size for a repressing? Because we all gripe and bitch when bands do these 60 copies, and it's going to sell out in 5 minutes. But at the same time, I very much get that bands and labels, they don't want to press up 500 or 1,000 copies and have them sitting around for the next 5 years, unable to give them away.
Right.
Does anybody have a sense of what the sweet spot is for pressing?
So I think a lot of what contributes to this still being available is that like nobody's ever heard of this label. They don't really do very many releases. He doesn't do any like social media or advertising or anything. He just puts them out, and if you know about it, then great. That's kind of why I'm trying to be evangelical about it. But so like in my case, I want to bootleg, since I can't get the permission, the Moribund album. And I would just love to do like 25 copies. I can't afford more than that. I mostly just want to have like a copy in my hand and give some to friends or sell them to fans, and that's all I need. That's all I'm worried about,
Unless it gets picked up by like Music on Vinyl or something like that, they'd go by the thousands. I noticed they'll do like but this right here, Music on Vinyl, I think they only did like 1,500 or something for this one. It's already getting a little hard to find. So if you've been looking for it, now is the time to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, some folks have some good comments here. Yeah, Low Noise says they did a pressing of 2,000, took 8 years to sell, but with some conditions there. Yeah, I mean, I've known folks tied to record labels in the past too that they'll do like a print of 500 or a print of 1,000, and they sit on copies for ages. And I'm not talking like 3 copies; they'll sit on boxes and boxes of them for ages. So
CDs are that way for me. CDs are that way for us. Yeah. I still got tons of Kriegsgrav, Alda, Volgafluster. I've got out that other room is filled with CDs that people didn't, and then you get a small contingent of CD fans that are screaming for CD releases. And I mean, we're going to do it eventually, but they're pissed that we haven't done it yet. And I get it. But and another thing about the vinyl stuff, if you do 500, that's typically a normal release. For us, that could be a normal, unless you're Panopticon, then we'll do 1,000 or 1,500 and then repress it 3 times. But what you do with these label bands that people don't know for vinyl, it's okay to put out 250 or 500. If they sell quick, you can reorder them. And since they've already got the plates made at the plant, it doesn't take 6 to 8 or 9 months to repress them. So, I mean, but the more you buy up front, the cheaper the unit price is and the lower the price is. And right now, the plants are going through this thing where there's a vinyl shortage, which might be true, might not be. I don't know, but it's costing more and more money to press records. It's getting ridiculous. That's why you're seeing $35, $40 fucking new releases. It's kind of a shitty fucking deal. It's kind of a shitty deal because people don't need records. They don't need CDs. They need food. They need gas. They need heat for their house. And as the times get harder and harder and harder, it's getting harder and harder to justify pressing records, But anyway, that was fun. A little conversation. Who
I feel like the resurgence of vinyl, we're really starting to paint ourselves in the corner financially.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting too expensive to do to feed the demand. People want it, but they don't want to pay. I can't pay $35, $40 for a fucking record. It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah. just anecdotally, one of the times I was recently in one of the local stores, a lady had come in and was, talking to the folks behind the counter, trying to find a Christmas gift, kind of like we're talking about tonight. Her niece wanted, vinyl records, and you could tell the lady was kind of confused but happy about this. It's like, oh, I can't believe kids are listening to vinyl again. The guy's like, yeah, it's been really popular in recent years. And so she was like, she needs a record player. Do you sell record players? Like, yes, we have a few. And she's like, okay, what should I get her? And the guy was, being very patient with her, trying to walk her through some of the basics. But you could quickly see it starts to register with her. She's like, these are how much? You mean when I was a little girl buying Bobsy Twin records or whatever, they were like $4.99 or something. And she's like, the new Taylor Swift's going to run you a little more than that on vinyl. I'm sad to say. So. So it was that same thing. You could tell the woman was willing to get it, but as soon as she started running the price, like, that's a little outside my price range. I guess I'm gonna have to get her something else for Christmas instead.
That Crossley looks nice over there in the corner.
It's got a killer ceramic needle on it.
And Jason's got a good point. Record Store Day was designed to get people back into the brick and mortars to buy records again, but has become a scourge of the for pressing plants. There's only so many pressing plants, though they are starting to manufacture new record pressing machinery. Yeah. They are, and now with the big boom of vinyl and all these young kids are getting into it, which is killer. But you got Adele releasing her new album, 500,000 copies of a vinyl 2 LP set. It jams up the pressing plants with this shit. It jams it. They're already saying they're having a vinyl shortage that feeds into it. Then you have Taylor Swift coming up right behind her with her pressing 500,000, 100,000 copies of her record. And all of us little dummies that are putting out 250, 300, 500 to 1,000 records, we get pushed to the background and we suffer because of all these big major labels. Jack White, say what you want about the guy. He came out and said that these big records companies need to build their own pressing plants. That is genius. Yep. If they built their own pressing plants, that would be solve the problem right then and there. But
he did build his own plant.
Yep.
Yeah, and people are buying it. It sells. Again, I was at one of the local stores earlier this week talking to the guy. It's kind of hilarious. He's sitting there behind the counter, with a Dark Throne back patch. He's like, how's it going today? He's like, I can't stop selling copies of this Taylor Swift album. They just, I'm down to nothing but the cassettes, and people are now, they can't keep them in stock.
Maybe we can learn something from 20
I'm just like, you enjoy selling those, don't you? He's like, oh, fuck you.
Some of these labels have put out like a million variants. Like, again, the $20 spend one of those, like, they have some kind of magic working for them, when they put out this stuff.
It costs a couple $100 to change the color variant every time. The plant has to scrape the plates and clean the plates to put new vinyl on it. They charge you. It's $150 or $200 to change colors. It's just
yikes.
It's cool, but it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, $20 Taylor Swift cassettes. Yeah. I think for that one, I want to sit up in the bleachers.
All right, who is next? Who just went? Was it?
I did my Wars Wolf rant a few minutes ago, so that was kind of my big epic closing movement. So I think it's Ben's turn.
It's me. He just did the.
Oh, did Ben do his too? Okay. Oh yes.
Oh shit! I am not ready. Okay, I'm just gonna talk here. How many more does everybody have?
I'm down.
I've kind of done my big one, so.
Okay. I can go one more round after this. Would that be fine?
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Round it is.
I'll do the electronic stuff first. I'm an industrial fan, and the first two Skinny Puppy albums, Bites and Remission, I've got a 2-in-1 CD that and it has tracks omitted from both albums so they could fit the main brunt of the album on one CD. So I would like to see the first two Skinny Puppy records on vinyl. That'd be really cool. That'd be fun to have. And Elaine Jorgensen, he has Revolting Cocks I really like the early stuff, super repetitive, bare minimum. It's, him, Luke Van Acker, Chris Conley, and one of the dudes from Front 242. But anyway, I've got Big Sexy Land in a couple singles. I would like to get You Goddamn Son of a Bitch live, and Beer, Steers, and Queers on vinyl. That'd be fun. Original pressings. I know all that stuff's been reissued, but yep, I like that stuff. And for some reason, that realm of industrial just sounds good on wax. It's not completely filled up with distortion. It's just kind of a pure sound. It sounds really good on vinyl.
Yep.
The Big Sexy Land edition I have sounds really. I just listened to it the other night, drinking a few beers. It was fun. Good stuff. So yeah, those are a couple things. Go ahead.
I've started looking for some Skinny Puppy CDs since you and Matt did your deep dive. It was interesting. I kind of played songs on YouTube as y'all would talk about them, and yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I just got to track some stuff down now.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Anybody is not new to doesn't know Skinny Puppy, listen to the song God's Gift Maggot and tell me that's not a fucked up awesome song. It's on Mind the Perpetual Intercourse. It's an amazing album, and that is a fucked up killer song. So good. Okay, Rick.
Yeah, so I just found out. So I do the subscription every month. So Gimme Metal Vinyl Club. You guys familiar with that at all?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben knows. So every month you get something new, and so the next round of stuff coming up. So this is one I'll be able to scratch off the list soon. Will be this.
Such a great fucking record.
And He'll Exhale.
Yep.
Got it on CD, but it's gonna be awesome to get it on wax.
Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to that. I've never anticipated something more than what they have here.
That's a great grind record. It's so good.
Yeah. So definitely excited about that.
It's kind of like the modern, the early 2000s era of World Downfall is what that strikes. It's that good of a grind record.
It's also kind of an announcement. So if anybody's looking for that record or whatever, like you're looking for it, even if you're not like a member, you can still kind of purchase stuff a la carte, I guess. So that'd be one source you can get it on vinyl if you've been looking for it. So it'll be available soon.
They have I checked out. They have an app now that like they'll have artists curate playlists on there and like chat and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Never checked it out.
I tuned in the other day, and so like someone from Dryad was doing a curated playlist, and so they just run through it and they talk in between the songs, and then they're in the chat and fans are all talking about it. It was fun.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. And then you can like listen to old episodes and shit. It's cool.
Yeah, Gimme Metal I've had it on my phone for a bit. I don't know why it never took off for me, but it's killer. When I was listening to it, there's a lot of variety. It's cool. It's a killer metal app for sure.
Yeah. Kind of the same for me. I liked it when I used it, but then I just quit using it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, but there was no reason I quit using it. It just, yeah.
I think nerds like us just don't want to have someone choose our metal for us.
Yeah. You don't really hear people clamoring about the metalhead box. I mean, there's still a few YouTubers that show this stuff, but there was a while there. Every month there would be like 20 fucking metalhead videos of like metalhead box. They're all showing the same shirt. They're all showing the same stuff. It's like, oh God, kill me.
Yeah,
but
that's the Gimme Metal Vinyl Club, Rick. Sounds like it's pretty worth it.
Yeah, it's hit or miss sometimes. I'm like, but sometimes they'll have something. I got the Spectral Voice on the last drop, which is
that's nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
so really happy about
That's
that.
how they did that first Melocash album. That's the first time that had been on vinyl.
Yeah, they had that too, and sometimes they'll throw like a metalcore thing or something like,
Yeah.
All right, Alan.
Okay, last one here. Yeah, folks are talking a lot about colored vinyl back and forth. I've always been a little bit of a sucker for colored vinyl, I'll admit. And again, it was very different with older releases. Back then, colored vinyl was the rare exception that was usually just made because the pressing plant wanted to use up some extra wax from a big order, and they would give the small band a discount for letting them use it up. Whereas now, like folks are talking about, I can only imagine the poor person at the pressing plant who has to take the orders from $20 spin. It's like, now I need 213 copies on green swamp vinyl. Then I need 156 copies on green pine forest vinyl, but swirled, not plain, swirled. I need 53 copies, and just like, shoot me now. So yes, I get where people do get a bit tired of it with new releases. The reason I'm going off on this is my last one will be a colored vinyl pick of an album that most of us know and love. I may or may not have about, I think I'm up to 10, maybe 11 different pressings of this now.
And you showed them. They're impressed. It's impressive.
Oh, it's grown since I made that video. I've added one or two since that video came out. But yeah, this is Jagdpanzer's Ample Destruction. Yeah, Ironworks was, infamous for putting out all kinds of wacky varieties. They were kind of like 20 buck spin. If 20 buck spin had really poor business decisions and was just did stuff at random instead of telling you what the hell they were doing. So there's a bunch of different versions of colored vinyl for this, but they're all very hard to get. Now, again, I'm talking the original press. This album has been reissued a bunch in recent years, and some of those are on colored vinyl. That's very cool. There's nothing wrong with those. But back in the original pressing, there were small quantities done on several different colors of wax. The one I'm picking for my last, request from Santa is a pink vinyl copy. Original label, silver label, red press. You have to know the matrix numbers on these because there was a weird semi-official pressing done in the 90s that has some weird varieties, but they are different printing plates. So the matrix numbers are different. You got to drill kind of deep. There's a lot of weird little variations when you get into this catalog. Anyway, why the pink vinyl? I have a couple of the colored varieties, but there's several I don't have. And do
you have the engorged penis purple color variant?
I don't think there is one that meets that particular criteria.
Poser.
Let's see. There is ones I know of. There's a clear vinyl. There's a bright red vinyl. There's a dark translucent red vinyl. There's a bright kind of lime green. There's a yellow, which could be the clear one if it's tarnished over time, because I have seen clear vinyl records do that. So I'm not 100% sure if it's a legit variety or not. And there's this pink one. This pink one was on eBay last week. And it started out $9.99 from just some huge, vinyl seller. Not, a lot of details. I emailed them for some details and they never did respond to me. I kind of knew this was, so I kept an eye on it all week, but I kind of knew this was not going to end well for Alan. And it did not end well for Alan. At the final bell, I watched it count down. I stayed there just in case it slipped through the cracks. There were no cracks. There was no slippage. Final bell for the pink vinyl, Jagdpanzer, Ample Destruction, $2,250.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So I'm going to have to wait till next Christmas before I have a chance to pick that one up, probably. Some of the...
I would give you oral favors if I could only get this Jagdpanzer album. Yeah.
It's all about the engorged penis for you right now.
Yes, it is. It is.
But
this is you have your own
wine shit I drank.
Right? You got your own row for that album next to the Witchfinder General, next to the Witch Cross.
Yeah, the Witchfinder General ones are not nearly that bad. I knew it would get expensive. I did not think it would get nearly that expensive. The most expensive sale on this I'd seen before was for one of the lime green pressings on eBay. That has sold within the past 2 years. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. Within the past 2 years, a lime green one sold for a little over $1,000. It may have been like $1,050. So I'm not sure why the pink one sold for twice that. There's so few copies of these and they show up so irregularly that you can't really say one is more rare than the other. And Ironworks was terrible at bookkeeping. It's not like you can go back to their records and say, oh, they pressed up 300 of these and 150 of those. Nobody knows. I doubt the fellow who did it has any clue. He just didn't. It was literally just like, what do I feel like making today? Well, I want to take a handful of these and cut them into the shape of Christmas trees, and there'll be a shaped vinyl.
It's probably end of the line vinyl that was a color they would sell them for at a discount.
I don't know how it worked back then, but So there's no way to say that, oh, the pink one's twice as rare as the green one, because Lord, they turn up so infrequently, and there's no records, there's no database you can go and check on. So I don't know why this one was so much more expensive than all the other colored variants I've seen. But bottom line, if you find an original press of Ample Destruction on any color of vinyl for a sane price, you pick it up. Even if you don't like the album, even if you don't like colored vinyl, you can flip it and make a pretty penny on those. You just got to make sure, again, that you do get an original pressing of it with the different there's foreign pressings, there's unofficial pressings, there's reissues. You do have to be careful or you'll buy the wrong thing. So yeah, a pink Ample Destruction. That's what I will close with tonight. But Ben, let's see what you're going to wrap up with.
So I did a Holy Grail albums video 5 years ago on my channel, and I was just kind of skimming through it again. And I have managed to pick up maybe 9 of the 12 or so in the video.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good. Yeah.
The Weekling LP is one that I haven't gotten.
Oof, tough.
And then Emperor's As the Shadows Rise 7-inch. That's pretty hard to come by.
Yeah.
And then Immortals demo tape. I got a bootleg of it, so like I'm fine. But the one that I haven't gotten, aside from those, is Thorns of the Carrion's Scarlet Tapestry album. I know, another obscure nerd thing.
It's good shit.
I know it by reputation. I don't think I've ever heard it.
So supposedly, I think I can share this. Go to Warx is supposed to be putting that out on vinyl next year, I think, pretty soon. So
5 copies of it.
The CD copies go for about $200 to $300. It was self-released back in 97, of course, 97. I'd love to have it. It's kind of like a slower, doomier kind of Cradle of Filth kind of deal. It's real emotive killer album. Yeah, that was the only pressing. So hopefully I can get a copy of it when Godo Warx puts it out next year. I don't know if black metal nerds know what that is, but they did an interview with them in the last Arcane, not the last, but 2 Arcane Archivist issues ago. And then that label found out about the release because of that, and therefore it's getting to the plant. So it was like, by way of my channel, Arcane Archivist found out about the album and then did an interview with the band, and then it went to the pressing plant. So it's kind of cool to feel like, by way of me talking about nerd shit on my channel, stuff's getting reissued. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Yep.
And I might get a copy of it. I might get one.
Right.
Sometimes these need to be clobbered over the head. You know, they take notice. You know, there's a demand for this stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do have some final things I'm going to close with, but I'll let you.
No, that's completely cool. Well, for me, both of these are peaceful bands, and we just talked about this band on Wednesday night. Our most successful album club thus far has been The Dark Throne. It's up already over 800 views, which for Wednesday nights, pretty good. But
it was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And yeah, a lot of people. This is not a hard record to find, but every time I go to pull the trigger on it, there's always something else. Because I've had the OG CD. I used to have the OG tape of this. Soulside Journey. This is my favorite Dark Throne record, hands down. I've got a humongous run of all the shit on vinyl. This one I don't have yet. It'd be cool to get an OG pressing of this, but probably not gonna happen. What was the next one? Topsy. This guy. Images.
It's the same guy that did Lost Paradise too, and the artwork. It should be cool to have.
It would be cool. I love that artwork too. It's so cool. Autopsy, Metal Funeral. I would like an OG copy of this to sit alongside my Severed Survival. And also, if Fiend for Blood was ever put out on vinyl. I don't know if that was or not. It's such a short release. That would be a fun one too. It's got Steve DiGiorgio on bass. Killer shit. I love this early Autopsy. I even love me some new Autopsy. The new Autopsy has been so much fun. I've listened to it a bunch this year. Very good stuff. But Yep, those are a couple more fun little under the tree. Man, wouldn't we shit our pants if we walked out to the tree and Santa Claus had come down? And which is that a repress? One of the represses?
Yeah, 2012. It's fine.
All right, totally fine.
Yeah.
All right, Rick, we'll swing back around to you, sir.
Rick had some closing comments for us.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to a friend I got here. Kind of been watching the whole time. But first, you guys know the VC, there's been the audio file thing that's been going around. I didn't make a response to that, but I will show something. One of the things on my want list, and I kind of took notice because Kellen, who started the thread, you know, he moved. Has this new audio setup, which I think is pretty cool. He's got these floor standing speakers, and I don't have such a thing. I just have regular speakers, and I think from a aesthetic and just from a sonic perspective, it'd be really cool to have. So for now, just trying to be resourceful, I have this, so I just had to kind of MacGyver like my own thing in the meantime, so I can get a decent, good pair. Now again, bear with me. This is just something I jerry rigged, you know. So I got this wooden sonic brand. You know, it'll do for now. It sounds a little thin. You know.
Did you make two of them?
Two of them. You know, it's got the banana plugs in the back. It seems to go bad every now and then. So,
yeah. And then, vintage gear, handmade gear. You know, Rick, Jesus was a carpenter. It could be blessed. It'd be blessed. Anyway, go ahead.
Dwayne and his warlord box are not impressed with your carpentry.
When I can get the clips and drop the 2 paychecks on it, you know, I'll return. And also, this is a Christmas related stream. So I got this guy here. Let me plug him in. So this is cousin Eddie's kind of bastard son, and his name is Mr. Chill, and he's kind of full of self-deprecating humor. Doesn't get any respect.
I used to be hefty until the neighborhood kids used my stomach to make snowballs.
Yeah. So I can't get him to leave. He's got a Winnebago in the back. And I think he kind of throws his waist down the sewage out there. He's going to cause an explosion. So it's just not.
I think Alan's feeling challenged right now with all these cool props.
No, I'm just trying to suss this one out.
I saw it sitting there. I'm like, this is going home with me. It's just.
I tipped my big pointy hat to you, sir.
This is where we're at now. This is where we're at. So there you go, Mr. Chill.
Mr. I saw in the news today where I don't know where it was at, but somebody had set up a cousin Eddie display in their front yard with them, you know, like a realistic statue of him standing there drinking the beer, emptying the hose down. Some of the neighbors didn't realize it was a display and called the cops because there was some guy outside in the yard drinking beer, dumping shit down the drain. They kind of didn't catch on to the fact that maybe it was animatronic and moving a little bit or something, but yeah, that happened apparently.
Wow.
They're getting more and more realistic. Somebody's Halloween props in it. This year was just
it's the robots, like Ben was saying. Now the robots are taking over your lawn decoration. Air blown inflatables or so 2019.
Well, that's it, everybody. We made it through the Christmas grind here. We're almost through it for reals, and
we made it to Christmas Eve.
Cheers to Mel for coming up with a fun topic, and for sure. And one nice thing with this new email address we have, there's been a couple people sending us topic suggestions. People that watch the show a lot, kind of cool. We're also on Instagram. Heavy Metallurgy channel. Check that out. Slowly growing. I have a hard time keeping up with all this social media shit, but I do my best. And it was a lot of fun. Rick from Dreadful Minutes, definitely go check out his channel. We do not have Brain Smasher added to the comments or to the description because we didn't know he was going to be here today. So it was a nice surprise. It was a Christmas miracle.
Thanks for having me.
He
For
saw
sure.
a star above, on the horizon,
Yes.
and followed it, and it led him to this stream.
Yep. And we have shirts available, a couple different shirt designs. Go to the link in the description and check those out. Thank you to everybody that donated to the super chats tonight. You
Yeah, so
all
it was really
rule.
nice of everybody.
And what else is next week we've got several things. We've got the Heavy Metallurgy Album Club on Wednesday. I cannot Miscreant. Is that the name of no?
Miscreants.
Miscreants. Miscreants, a different band. Miscreants. We're going to be covering that for the album club, and on Friday we're having a big extravaganza.
And this is this is an idea that was submitted by a viewer. Mayhem777 was in the chat earlier. Don't know if he still is, but quite a while back he had mentioned he thought it'd be really cool if we, for end of the year, New Year's thing, kind of try to get a bunch of guests on, like Marty used to do, with the lockdown streams, and just had everybody kind of, talk about favorites from the year. We thought it was a really great idea, so we've been talking to some folks, and we have a star-studded lineup that is coming together for next Friday night. So
hopefully we can have 10 people, and it could be Heavy Metallurgy's top 50 of 2022. That would be the goal.
We're rapidly heading in that direction as folks are signing on to join us for next Friday evening.
Yep. It's going to be like air traffic controlling in here, but we're going to have a good time. Each person's picking 5 albums, and we're going to go through them as quickly as we can. And at the end, we'll maybe bullshit a little bit. So
I'm sure we will.
We'll try to keep it moving along, and it'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, a lot of folks have been doing top 5 videos recently, of course, anyway. But if you haven't caught all of them, or you just kind of want to see everybody's lists side by side at one time, next Friday night should be a good way to bring all that information together and have some fun with it. And
next year, we're going to hopefully have some fun and exciting things happening. So just keep tuning in, and we appreciate all you folks. And is that it? Anybody have anything to add? Any more carpentry you'd like to demonstrate or display, Rick, before we disembark?
Really quick, one thing I never got for Christmas that I wanted as a kid that I'm gifting this year is the damn Hess truck. Never got. So some happy kid will be.
Never even fucking heard of Hess.
And this is something that, it was 88, 89. I think was the year I wanted this, and then I really, really relished the gas stations, the fact that they had something like this, and then the Exxon disaster happened. It kind of tarnished my image of
So that's what we need, an Exxon Valdez recreation model.
That year, instead of the tanker truck, that year they did the big tanker boat, and that one that particular item kind of sank.
Comes with detachable hull. Now you too can spill hazardous chemicals into life-giving water. Yes.
It comes with some like that 80s green slime stuff, that can just ooze out of it all over grandma's coffee table.
Grandma, look.
That was most of the toys in the 90s. It was that was the slime years. Nickelodeon's to blame for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's it. Everybody have a great Christmas. Hope you get what you want. Hope Santa and Jesus do you right. And that's it, everybody. Have a great one. Cheers. We will see you Wednesday.
Ba-ba-da-ba.